everyone. Welcome back to the Phoenix League. I am your wonderful caster, Wolfie C. Joined here today by Righteous. We are going to be watching the best of 3 week 4 match between MiSFiTS and Clown Gaming Spartans. How's it going, Righteous?
Good, and we are already in a draft. Talk a little bit about these drafts bans we're seeing. Ezreal Volibear taken away from blue side, and Silas Tark taken away from red. Of course, over on the side of CGS. Lots and lots of games played on Ezreal already. You're gonna go and take that away. Big winner from the upcoming ADC buffs that we saw. So
Yeah, the 13.1b patch, no, it's definitely helping out, sort of widen the pool. The carries down in the bot lane. Zeri Yumi, very excited about them not being a thing anymore. Nami, while they did get hit a little bit, they're still fairly alright in the right matches. As we see the final set of bans here, Anivia and Maokai. Tell me more about these bans, Righteous, because Tarek, Volibear, these are not the typical bans that we see in pro play.
yeah, pro play is one thing. The amateur scene is another. Lots of targeted bans. Anivia really annoying to play around. You have to really hard focus her, otherwise that ult and the wall kind of give you so much control around these objectives. Go ahead and take that away. And then Maokai, even though he was nerfed along with Demonic Embrace, still pretty impressive in the support role, in my opinion. Maybe the support plays it as well, so they're going to go ahead and take that away. But the first pick of Mumu still survives despite the Demonic Embrace nerf. I think he's really viable, especially in this elo. It'll be interesting to see if CGS can do something to counter jungle, and we see Ivern and Seraphine locked in, lots of shields. This is looking like an LS draft on the red side.
Oh yeah. Ivern, yeah, I had casted the previous game before in another league. Ivern was also very high priority in the draft, and they're gonna be pairing it up with the Seraphine, like you said, a lot of shields. Maybe they're trying to pick up a hyper carry in the form of a Jinx, maybe an Aphelios for Clown Gaming Spartans, and try to peel for that AD carry with the Seraphine, with the Ivern, as we see MiSFiTS pick up the Darius, pairing that up with the Amumu. Oh, so far we're seeing some very high engage, very high volatility here from MiSFiTS, and maybe we're already seeing the first sets of we're already seeing the themes here that both teams are trying to set up for MiSFiTS, going for that dive in, go in with the Sivir as well, with that ulti, and Clown Gaming Spartans will have to see what the rest of the drop is going to look like.
Yeah, interesting to see the Sivir picked up so early. I wouldn't say she's a big winner from the 13.1b changes. I will say the Navori second rush kind of item is really nice. And then we see Zeri hovered. I would be surprised to see it locked in. I do think Zeri Seraphine is a pretty safe combo. It is went ahead and locked in there. So yeah, I think Amumu is going to have a lot of playmaking potential with a Darius and Sivir follow-up. Kind of a standard front-to-back comp we're seeing so far. CGS, on the other hand, going to be really interesting to see how they approach these team fights. Ivern creates a lot of space along with that Seraphine. However, Zeri isn't known for her longest range. She wants to have these front-to-back team fights, so we'll see how it goes for her. But in the meantime, we see Victor banned away from MSF. Jax banned away from CGS, so it looks like Darius is gonna, get his pick of the litter in terms of champs that he wants to see in lane. Meanwhile, I think they're gonna save counter pick on red side probably for mid. So you're gonna see probably one more mid ban and then mid pick on R5 and then a counter pick. It's interesting. MSF's gonna have given away 2 counter picks to both solo lanes, so we'll see if CGS can punish effectively until we ban away.
Yeah, a pick that I'm looking for right now is the Cassante. Still up and ready, very strong right now on the patch, and it doesn't look like MiSFiTS are really looking for it. Clown Gaming Spartan, they're gonna ban out Zoe as well. Oh, to be honest, I'm a big LS fan, like you said as well. I think Zoe support is probably really, really good right now. But MiSFiTS, they don't have an AP jungler that can really take advantage the magic penetration that Zoe gives you, and they're gonna find MiSFiTS. They're gonna be banning the Orianna as the last ban here. Really interesting. They decided to leave the Cassante out, and we'll have to see if Clown Gaming Spartan opt to take that. I don't know how good the matchup is into Darius, but that's still Cassante. You're gonna want to take that.
Yeah, Kasante, really great champ. Unfortunately, I don't believe top laner of CGS plays it very much. I'd be expecting to see maybe an Urgot pick here, something that has some range, can kind of stay relatively safe against the Darius, do some massive damage on the side lanes. They said Kled is going to
Ooh.
be locked in. That is an interesting pick. Looking at their team comp, going to be having lots of speed, lots of shields. It's going to be really on them to kind of kite around. You know, Ivern creates space with the Q, with the ultimate. Seraphine, her ultimate as well with the W. And then Zeri, if she can get the opportunity just to free hit on this Darius and a Mumu so far, see if another melee is locked in for MiSFiTS. I'm going to have a pretty good time in terms of the way this draft is setting up. Kled, obviously, his ulti. Um, really, really unique opportunities in team fights to, you know, look for TP flanks, ult flanks, get on that back line. So, and then Nautilus locked in for the Sivir. I mean, it's always
Oh
good to see
yeah.
the Nautilus pick up into the Zeri free, you know, point and click CC, lock her down. Um, the Mumu as well. If you can chain that CC, you know, Nautilus engage with the ult, Mumu follow up, or have that Zeri not be able to move, focus her down. That's probably going to be the move. You know, Darius, really, really high base damage, one shot potential on someone like a Zeri or a Seraphine. But I'm interested to see what the mid lane for CGS is going to pick up because they're, you know, Kled is kind of beefy. They don't really have a full on tank. Maybe
Whoa.
something like a, whoa, Katarina locked in.
Whoa.
Okay.
Uh, I wanted to talk about Misfits not having much AP in their composition just yet, and they decide to lock up the Katarina. I'd say for their team composition, Katarina is fairly understandable. You have a decent engage in the Amumu and the Nautilus. Follow that up with the Darius and the Sivir ulti. You're gonna have a lot of ways to just get into the team composition that Clown Gaming Spartans has set up for them. And the Katarina is just going to be layered on top of that with the damage. CGS,
Mm,
they're looking at the Syndra right now. Very good disengage with that Scatter the Weak. The
okay.
composition that Clown Gaming Spartans right now, it's a little bit. I have to say the composition is kind of a little bit janky for me because you have the Kled who's
Yeah.
gonna want to engage with that ulti, like you said. But engaging into Misfits composition maybe not the best idea considering that Misfits is the one with a better engage composition. And Clown Gaming Spartans, they have the Zeri, they have the Seraphine, they have the Syndra, they have very good disengage so that this jointedness between the top lane and the rest of the composition a little bit wary for me, and I'm interested to see what they're going to be able to do with it. What are you thinking, Righteous?
Well, I mean, the nice thing about Kled ult is he leads the way. The rest of the team gets that speed boost. Maybe they're looking to, you know, maybe pick off a Sivir or Katarina, focus on which damage source. I'd probably say the Katarina. And then, you know, let Zeri ramp up for the rest of the team fight because you do have 3 melees on the side of MSF. It's going to be really hard to stick on that Zeri with all that peel that you were talking about. So maybe the Kled, maybe his job is kind of just, you know, kamikaze in, take out one of those carries, then let the Syndra and Zeri do the rest of the work. I would say, though, if you take CGS's draft, swap out that Syndra for a Galio, does that draft, I mean, that draft looks really good if
Oh
Galio's in
yeah,
there.
oh yeah. With the Galio there, that's looking like a lot of peel for the hyper carry that is going to be Zeri. But hi, hello, hi. Can you hear me? Hi, sorry about that. I kind of cut off. But yeah, continuing on my point, the compositions are both very good. You know, the hyper carry of the Zeru, the lot appeal from the Seraphine and the Ivern. Really interesting to see sort of what sort of team fights Clown Gaming Spartans are going to be able to pick up for themselves. Um, let's head into predictions here, Righteous. Who are you thinking going to win this matchup based off of the draft?
Well, I'm just looking at the draft. I mean, there's kind of two sore thumbs that stick out to me. I look at things that don't really fit the composition very well. The Katarina is going to be really, really hard to pilot into a team that has so much peel. The Ivern, the Seraphine, the Syndra. Whereas CGS, the Ivern, I'm not really quite sure how it fits into the rest of the comp. So it'll be interesting to see. I think MSF has easier execution in team fights and on side lanes and things like this. The CC chain for someone like the Zeri, you know, lots of burst potential from the Katarina as well. Darius can do, ramping damage to their team fight. So I think I'm gonna give game one to MSF, but I'm not too confident. It should be pretty close.
Yeah, like you said, the draft plays a huge part, but also the execution is also another big part that we're gonna have to see both of these teams try to rack up. MiSFiTS, they have a fairly good go-in composition. When they see an opportunity, they fight. They will fight. But Clown Gaming Spartans, they have the ability to disengage. They have the capabilities to be able to mitigate the engage that MiSFiTS have, and maybe try to turn it around with damage from the Zeri and the Syndra as well. Like I said, 50-50, very, very close. It's going to be all up to executions. And right now, in the standings for the Phoenix League right now, MiSFiTS and Clown Gaming, they're basically right next to each other. MiSFiTS right now, I believe, are 1 and... Oh no, MiSFiTS are 1 and 2, yes, and Clown Gaming are 2-1 for their overall record so far. These two teams basically neck and neck in terms of their abilities and their skill. It's going to be all up to execution, I'd say, as if that's going to be it, we will be getting ready to head into the spectator delay and be getting ready for the game one. You have any final thoughts, Righteous?
I'm just looking forward to a bloodbath. That's how low elo games are all about, right? Lots and lots of team fights. You're gonna have your work cut out for you. But I think it's gonna be a good fun game.
Yeah, it is good. Definitely going to be a very fun game. We're going to be looking forward to it. But we are going to be heading into that spectator delay. Give it a few minutes, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to PXC. Game 1 started here. MSF versus CGS. Looks like no fun. Oh, a little bit of invade topside with MSF. You has to
Yeah,
be careful here.
the
Nautilus 6
root
does come out.
caller. Yeah,
Oh,
the hook
this.
they're not going to be landing, but the root caller keeping him in his place. And yeah, so far this looking like a pretty game. Some damage over there into the mid lane. We didn't really have we did talk a little bit much about the draft here, but
Mhm.
let's talk about the early game, Righteous. What are you thinking is going to happen in the first few levels? Because I'm looking at Amumu right now. He's going to be recalling, and looks like he's going to be starting over on the red side. Maybe passing up into that top lane. Maybe Darius can set up something over there. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's the onus is on a Mumu to get some stuff rolling early, especially against this Ivern. Ivern has a pretty unique, clear paths sometimes, looking like he's going to start wolves into blue, possibly make his way down to red, just check to see where Mumu's at. Um, but yeah, I think, maybe a quick 3-camp clear from Villanova up to Leaky Wallow. Gonna punish King Kong that does not have TP available. No TPs on top side. No TPs at all on MSF actually. While Shiva the dog for CGS does bring it on Syndra, and I think Syndra's build starting the tier early is actually kind of smart. To try to just abuse the melee matchup that you have ahead of you, stack up some tiers, stack up the first strike procs, get some gold in your pocket, and then look to make some noise. In that mid game. Syndra really great scaling now since the I don't know if you call it a rework or an update or whatever, but
Kind of like a
looks like a
mid
Mumu
scope
is gonna be
rework.
going to Fulver while Tigsy is
Yeah,
in mid. The
easy.
root
That's
does
the
hit.
land caller over there in the mid lane, but there's not really a lot of damage. Remember, this is still the early game. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, a hook gonna be landing over there onto Funny Dude, but not much else is gonna be happening so far. Some action already, and as you're talking about a Mumu in the bot lane,
Yeah,
looking for
Villanova
something.
sees it.
In the top lane, we see some trading, but Villanova, he's going to be moving down in the bot lane. They don't have any vision on this, and here comes the engage with the
Great
flash, but
E.
the E, like you said, and the flash away from Funny Dude, and the gank is gonna get straight away from, but that's a flash away from the support of the CGS in the top lane.
Both
Some damage.
both supports losing their flash. MSF Abito flashing forward to hit the hook. So supports are flashless. Lots of trading going topside. What do you expect from a Darius Clid lane, right?
Yeah, both of them went Conqueror and Combat Summoners as well with the Ghost and the Ignite. Some trading here in the mid lane. Pretty good scatter of the week there from Shiva. And overall, we're getting to see the first few looks of this game. A lot of trading over on all sides of the map, both top and mid, showing their own sides of volatility as well, as is to be expected considering, the average rank here is, I'd say, maybe around gold. And as we look at Villanova over there, in a topside river, Ivern's up there as well, maybe trying to look for a lane gank. Both summoners up
Villanova
from
will be
Darius,
spawn
though.
out. Yeah,
Yeah, they
Villanova
are
will
going to
be spawning
spot
about
him.
that ward, but I don't think they believe Ivern is in there. King Kong, if he can bait it out, have Villanova come top, I think they might actually win the 2v2 with the Ivern shields, with the slows and empowered autos from the bush.
The
Looks like they're
wave,
just opting to back
though.
off. Yeah.
The wave isn't in the best position for Tigsy and King Kong to get that gank off, and it looks like Tigsy is just gonna get a recall, trying to set that up, but unfortunately it did not work out. Drake gonna be spawning in 40 seconds. Bot lane priority is kind of middling right now. Both teams, as like we saw earlier, trading bow for bow, but right now the wave is kind of in the middle.
Yeah, and I think that's just, recognizing the volatile lane as top. I think either one of these top laners, if they get ahead, they're going to have so much side lane pressure for the rest of the game. King Kong leading that Q, eing forward, the pull.
Lots of damage. There is the passive turnaround, but he's gonna get these. The wave is still in favor of King Kong, so you have
Yep.
to be wary of that. Darius puts a ward there just in case. Tigsy is trying to look for something, but he's all the way down in the bot lane, setting up for that Drake that did just spawn. So is Villanova. If you look on your
Yeah.
map right now,
Lots of pings coming out down to that side. Tigsy
Tigsy.
hovering, Shiba. Quinn's taking lots of damage, getting abused early in this lane.
Yeah, the
Has E
priority
forward.
definitely for the side of CGS right now. Goes for the
Has to be
Shunpo
careful.
over the minions. He does have the flash. You have to keep that in mind. And he is still Katarina, but he's unaware that Tiggsy is here. It looks like Tiggsy did show a little bit there, expecting Quinn to go for the Shunpo over onto the minions, but instead Katarina is just going to be going for the recall. And Tiggsy looks like he's starting up the Drake.
Yeah, I don't know about the solo Iron clear on Drake. Definitely want to get that Syndra over as soon as she can shove a wave. Maybe he knows something I don't know, but I can't believe that taking a Hextech Drake solo
Oh,
is
this is
the...
not good though for the
And
bot
they
lane
do have that
priority.
ward. Have that
And
ward, the bot lane prio.
Katarina won't be here, but the rest of the team will be. Here comes your bandage toss onto the Tiggsy, but already the AD carry getting taken down. Funny dude though, very, very low. First blood. Gonna be going over onto Shiba
Good hits.
Inu. Both teams finally getting one kill down, but Fritz Lulu gonna get that double over onto Obito, and so far, CGS take the first lead. In the top lane though, lots of damage onto Darius, and King Kong is gonna take that solo kill with the Ignite. Very good place from King Kong.
Yeah, that's just knowing your champ, right? Kled, not a champ we see very often. I think Finn over in EU plays it a lot. And, you know, knowing the capabilities of your champ, limit testing, as you say. Darius, Leaky Wallow, maybe not used to the matchup. Does get taken down with that Ignite. You saw on the bot side, Flash and Ignite coming up from Quinn, forcing out Tiggsy and crew. And so blue team does pick up the early dragon. However, 3 kills going over to the side of red. You know, an early 1,000, we'll call it 1,500 gold lead for red side feels pretty good, especially on a comp that's scaling, right? It's not like
Oh yeah.
Sivir and Syndra, or sorry, Zeri and Syndra, you know, are mad about giving up this first Drake. I think if they could sit back, get some gold in their pocket, you know, these team fights will go their way eventually.
Funny dude. Maybe in a bit of a terrible position. But like you said, yeah, this early lead for the Syndra and the Zuri as well, always gonna take that over it over just one Hextech Drake. You can still scale, and you have the better team composition for late game team fights with the Syndra, with the Zuri. The range difference as well is gonna play a huge role later on as the game goes. But I'd say game state in favor of CGS still. Not exactly what you want as MiSFiTS, since you have the team composition that relies on tempo, that relies on getting a lead and snowballing that lead. But I'd still say the game isn't insurmountable, as we see the ulti from Quinn here in the mid lane. Shiba has to use the flash to get away from that. Tiggsy
Eva
could be
still
using
has
that
ult
shield over as
available.
well. Yeah, that flash may not have been necessary, but better safe than sorry, like you said. Scaling
Yeah,
composition.
I mean, to be fair, they didn't know where Villanova and that Amumu was, but Shiba has to be really careful here. Does see the Amumu. Amumu trying to keep the Katarina safe. You know, 1 QE into an ult. Shiba
Oh,
will get
here
the kill.
comes the dredge line over onto Funny Dude, though. Has to use the flash to keep himself away with the shield, and he is gonna be able to get away with just a little bit of health.
Yeah, he's gonna have to back. Feels pretty bad. Oh, he's playing really safe actually. Just playing around this area that does have ultimate available.
Oh, here comes a three-man gank in the mid lane, though. The Scatter of the Week is not gonna be landing. Tiggsy with the ulti from the Gled. Charge going over onto Katarina, but the Root Collar and the charge not gonna be landing. Here comes Quinta the Shumpo over onto her caster minions, and she is gonna be safe.
What did I tell you? Lots and lots of action happening in this game so far. You know, top laners making
The
roams.
re-engage Frank, though the bandage toss is not gonna land. Tiggsy without the flash may have to use Daisy here to scatter the weak to try to save his jungler. It's not gonna land. And Leaky Wallow is gonna get that kill over onto Tiggsy. Funny Dude was here, tried to get something back, but Quinn, Katarina still very, very, very mobile. As we
Up for the
see Villanova going for the flash bandage toss. Let's see if he has the
Great
damage. No, he
heal.
does not. The scatter the weak with the gameplay button, and Shiba, the dog, turns it around. Nice attempt there from Villanova, but it was just not enough.
What a bait that was, because, I mean, it seemed to me that they knew Amumu was going to try something fishy. The flash comes out with the Q, but I don't think Villanova recognized that Funny Dude still had the heal available. Shiba taken down really, really low. The heal comes out, you know, quick QE into ult, and that's all she wrote. So both junglers do go down in that mess that was the mid lane. But so far, so good for CGS. Still about 1,000 gold lead. Going to be playing around these Drakes a little bit more heavily. Syndra should have lots and lots of pressure here. The tier stacking. We got some items under her belt. 20 CS gold lead, or 20 CS lead. And yeah, sitting pretty.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You know, we were kind of hoping for MiSFiTS to put up a better fight in this, especially in the early game, considering they need the lead, they need the tempo to be able to make this team composition work. But so far, it's been CGS getting the upper hand, especially here in the top lane. 10 CS lead for King Kong and getting that solo kill earlier as well. Wikiwalo did get that kill over onto Tiggsy in the mid-game fight, but as we see, another engager from Quinn over onto Sheena. Villanova does not have the flash, doesn't have the ulti as well, it looks like, but let's see if the bandage toss lasts. It does not. And Shiba Inu gonna be safe. Meanwhile, Tiggsy gonna get found out that he's here in the bot lane with a what's that build called? Pizza toss, considering. Yeah, he's gonna be doing that.
Yeah.
Pizza toss.
Boomerang.
Yeah, that's a boomerang blade. Boomerang blade. That's the one.
Yep.
But pizza toss sounds a lot more delicious, though. I have to be honest.
That's true. That's true. You know, shout out to Shiba the dog for playing the lane.
Oh, here
really
comes
well.
an engage though in the bot lane. The ulti from the AD carry gonna have to use the flash to get himself out of here, but the on the hunt as well as the pizzas. These are some very, very aggressive pizzas. And funny dude, he looks like not in the best position right now. Obita has to flash forward and gets that kill over to them. It's a 2v3 in the bot lane, and the two bot laners of MiSFiTS are winning it out. They get both kills onto the enemy bot laners, and Tiggsy using Daisy to keep himself alive here, but that's an absolutely instrumental win in the bot lane.
Yeah, and Tiggsy seems a little lost here in this early game. Is playing the Ivern, not currently a meta pick. You know, with the pressure that you have coming out from Shiba and King Kong in your solo lanes, maybe you look to play more so that side. You know, have them push up, look into the enemy jungle and make plays that way. Because Tiggsy's showing up to the fight so late there. I was surprised he didn't have to burn flash. It was almost going to be a conga line of kills given to the Sivir. Fortunately, 2 of those kills did end up on the Nautilus, but feels bad. But good turnaround from MSF, able to take a little bit of a gold lead in there.
In the top lane, lots of damage over onto Leaky Wallow. Has to use the flash to keep himself alive. No jungle presence, but here comes the dive. The apprehend looks like it's not going to be working out using the ulti to try to keep himself alive, but King Kong already has all the damage that he needs, and he's going to get that solo bolo up there in the top lane. Meanwhile, in the Drake pit, Fritz Lulu is going to be the one that takes the Drake here, but the fight is already ensuing. The Curse of the Sad Mummy is absolutely huge. It gets all 4 people of CGS, and 2 people are already going to get killed here from MiSFiTS. That was absolutely amazing from Villanova.
Yeah, Dragon does go to CGS, so that feels good, denying that second Drake. However, 2 kills given away to Sivir and Katarina, and it just seemed like they were a little bit lost in terms of how do we want to disengage this fight. We want to secure the Dragon, which way we're going to go. They didn't have an exit plan. I would have said, just try to focus the Katarina, scatter the weak into ults. However, Villanova coming up big with that, 4 or 5 man ulti. So Flash was burned from Shiba, kept himself safe. Quinn was looking for that follow-up kill near the mid lane tower. So you have a flashless Syndra, no sums on Fritz. It's a little scary for those 2 carries. So they're gonna try to just play as safe as they can. Funny dude on the Vision mission, but has to be careful because one Nautilus hook could spell doom for a lot of these team members for CGS.
Yeah, that was a really, really huge win from MiSFiTS because, as we've said multiple times, they need a lead, they need tempo, and the flashless Shiba, the dog, here in the mid lane, already Obito moving up there. But with that team fight win, they didn't really get the Drake, but that's not what you want. But that's, you would have wanted the Drake, yeah, sure, but you still get the 2 kills, you still get that onto, one of them over onto Fearless as well. That's exactly what you need to keep the tempo going for MiSFiTS, and I'd say that's a net win, and that's definitely going to bring them back closer into this game. The state of the game right now, though, bot lane turret did just get taken down there by Villanova with the help of his bot lane, it looks like. And so far, the early game, it was in CGS's hands, but with that team fight win, it looks like MiSFiTS are going to be turning it around as we see King Kong with Tiggsy Daisy here. Going to be using the bandage toss over onto the minions to keep Villanova safe. And Daisy is going to be hitting Villanova a little bit, but yeah, 2v2 straight
And
away from.
looking at the gold here, you know, Shiba's still doing pretty well. Like, you know, 600 gold up on the Katarina. You know, Cat pick that wants to get ahead and get ahead early. Does have that 3 stack from the Dark Seal, however. Hasn't gone her way. Kind of getting bullied by Shiba with that first strike. She's gonna be Shiba is gonna be doing lots of damage. Then I would say, you know, 2k 1.8k gold lead for Mumu over the Ivern. Ivern not really able to do much early. However, it's still gonna be useful. You see that Moonstone build coming out with that summon area. Gonna be able
Yeah.
to keep his carries alive. Kled's gonna be really scary. You know, with an Ivern E, ults in, slows everybody. You know, has this pick of the litter because this Kled's been doing work on the top side. King Kong just been taking it to Leaky Wallow. He knows the matchup better than Leaky does right now. Even with Villanova help, you know, he's 2-0. He's sitting pretty. He's gonna be a menace on the sidelands.
Yeah, and this is the lane preference that King Kong picked into Leaky Waddle, feeling very confident with that B2 Darius pick. But King Kong just picking up his Gled and absolutely demolishing Darius here in the top lane as we see a little bit of a fight. Fritz Lulu is actually the one in danger. It's funny, dude. That's gonna get hooked with the flash from Villanova, and that's a kill over onto the support of CGS as we see the tower. That's a lot of damage, but Shiba the dog has to scatter the weak. He gets the stun over onto Fearless, but there's not really a lot of follow-up. Here comes Fritz Lulu, unafraid, dealing the damage onto Obito with a flash forward lightning crash, shot down over onto the support of MiSFiTS, and it ends up being a 1-for-1. But CGS, they're gonna get more damage over here on the tower.
Yep, the tower's gonna go down. Net positive, even though Funny Dude does go down. You know, just not recognizing, you know, without a flash, with an Amumu and a Nautilus on the opposing team, probably don't want to step up too far with no vision. I will say the vision game is kind of going to the side of MSF, able to get some aggressive vision. You know, Darius doing his best to ward up the top side as well. But, you know, it's really scary for Funny Dude to be out here on his lonesome. Seraphine doesn't have a lot of survivability, you know, with a Nautilus hook coming down, with Sivir chasing you down. First potential from Cat, as we see Herald started up by MSF, looking like it's going to be a pretty free one.
Yeah, you know, the mid lane priority did go over to CGS for a little bit, but it looks like the Herald wasn't really up, or they decided not to go for it. Instead, they went for the tier 1 tower there in the mid lane, as we see all 10 people prepping for this first Mountain Drake. The Rift Herald is going to get put down here in the mid lane, going to be getting the priority for that in the tier 1 turret. Villanova and Obito now moving into the river, trying to get some vision. There's a dredge line over onto King Kong. I don't really know if that's the guy you want. Daisy gonna get spawned
trying
here.
to clear out the So MSF had the right idea. I just don't think they played it to the fullest capabilities. They dropped the Herald. They got that first tower. You want to rocket in all the way to that second tower. You can give a second Drake, but if you can get that second tower pressure, it opens up the map a lot for you.
Oh yeah.
Instead, they just give up pressure and allow Fritz Lulu to rejoin the team. Red
It's the
side.
mid tier 2 too.
Yeah. Instead, they had the pressure and then they just gave it up. They let the red team walk in.
Villanova though, gonna get
Looking like he's gonna get caught
the
out.
bandage toss over onto the minions to keep himself safe, but Fritz Lulu, what are you doing, man? The rest of your team is on the opposite side of the team fight, but already Quinn is gonna get a double kill over onto CGS. The fight is not at all what CGS want. King Kong, you are 2-0, but you are not winning a 5v4, I mean a 4v1 right now. And Tigsy's the only person that's left alive for CGS, but that's an absolutely monumental win for MiSFiTS.
Fritz Lulu getting a little too overzealous there. You know, thought, let's just chase Villanova down. You know, he's the juggler. We take down the champ that doesn't have a smite. It should be free Drake, right? Well, the wraparound came from the rest of MSF. Picked up a quick kill on Fritz. He couldn't really do anything because he was, you know, so far away from his team.
Yeah.
Can't really peel you if you're on your own. You know, no more secret agent missions, hopefully.
Yeah, that was just they saw blood in the water. You know, Villanova really apart from the rest of his team, but really it was Fritz Lulu who was in the dangerous position. He was trying to go for Villanova, goes over the wall as he realizes that the ulti from Obito did, you know, get set up onto him, and he decides to, you know, skate over the wall. But maybe he didn't have vision. Maybe he felt safe going over there. But he skates right into the loving arms of all 5 members of MiSFiTS, and he gets punished for it.
Yep. So second Drake does go to MSF. You know, we didn't talk about the Elemental Drake on the wrap. It is that Mountain Drake. The defense is gonna be really, really big actually for MSF if they can get that soul. You're really looking at Shiba and Fritz to do a lot of the damage. You know, King Kong can be a menace on the side lanes. It's focused on pretty easy in team fights, however. And with that Mountain Drake, you know, that all-in potential you see from King Kong onto somebody like Fearless or Quinn on the Sivir or Katarina, respectively, a lot of the pressure is taken away. You get that shield, you get some resistances, and all of a sudden, you know, Fritz is kind of just hitting everybody with a rapid-fire P shooter. They're gonna have to be able to itemize effectively. That you see that PD coming out. You like to see maybe an LDR as well, just to deal with Villanova and Darius and this Nautilus.
Definitely agree on that one as we see. Seven Vision getting stepped up here in the Baron, maybe MiSFiTS with the lead that they have. They don't really have the best Baron. Their only consistent damage point is Sivir, but you know, you're still ahead, and you have that tempo-based composition. If you could find the opportunity, you'll still go for it, as we see some trading here in the top lane. Fearless moving up the river. Seems like MiSFiTS are unaware that Sigzy is here.
I mean, look at the visions from MSF around this
Here
Baron.
comes the engage, maybe. There
Uh-oh.
goes the engage. Likiwalo has to invest the flash, and King Kong tries to go for the follow-up, but unfortunately not able to find it. Now the rest of MiSFiTS in the river.
Shiba has to be
Yeah,
careful
they
though.
could.
They can just turn on Shiba.
Shiba has no
doesn't see anybody.
flash now. Ooh, the dredge
Oh
line
my
just
gosh.
barely, and the Scatter the Weak is able to deter them away. Pretty good plays from Shiba there, but a little bit on the edge.
I would say it's a little lucky. Nautilus, you know, has a tendency to have magnetic hooks. You know, whatever reason, that hook hitbox is so big, and Shiba just outside of its reach. Could have been really scary, as King Kong should be able to take this tower
Villanova,
down and
though.
could turn on to Villanova.
Oh, he just clears the way, but the second bandage toss is gonna land. King Kong doesn't want to opt into that fight. Maybe scared that Likiwalo was there, but yeah, that's a tier 1 turret over in the top lane.
Villanova did use ult there, pinged out by Nautilus, saying, "What are you doing, dude?" Because that ult isn't going to be available for the upcoming Baron fight if one decides to happen. Looks like hovering Shiba. Katarina is really scary now. Shiba was doing really, really good early. Katarina 3-0 and 2, 8 stacks on the Dark Seal. Did pick up the Nasher's Tooth. She can basically one-shot anybody except for maybe King Kong for CGS, and so they have to be really, really careful. You see the respect from Shiba. I don't know where anybody is. I ain't going to river. Let's group around this Baron instead because I don't want to be here.
I mean, that's exactly what CJS's team composition want to do. They want to stick together and, you know, use the peel from that Ivern and that Seraphine to keep their carries alive. And you don't really want to risk anything against Quinn. As we say that, though, Shiba getting a lot of good trades. You say that Quinn was very strong, but so is Shiba. You gotta say, with that Luden's Tempest and the Shadow Flame now, could very easily deal a hell of a lot of damage over onto the characters of MiSFiTS. As we see a lot of posturing here between the River, the Vision game over there in the top lane. Lots of vision from MiSFiTS, but in the bot lane, River, where the Mountain Drake is going to be spawning in 30 seconds. Lots of vision there, but Shiba maybe not in the best position. Gonna be finding out the sad news that Villanova is in fact here, and that's gonna be a kill over onto Quinn. Pivotal, absolutely pivotal pick off from MiSFiTS, getting that mid laner out of the fight for the upcoming Drake. She does have the teleport. We have to remember that, but the Drake is gonna be spawning in 10 seconds, and Shiva won't be spawning until 25. So
they're gonna start this Baron. They're gonna make him make a decision instead. MSF.
Yeah. This is a
might
really
just
good
catch
play,
him
it
out.
looks like. Beto gonna get slowed down here. The Anchor as well, not gonna be landing, unfortunately. But here comes the ulti from the Kled. Is it gonna be hitting anyone? No. This is a 4v4 with Darius on the box side, but MiSFiTS is afraid to pull the trigger. They're gonna be moving over onto this Mountain Drake though. But if you look at the map, CGS, they're gonna be moving up. Yeah, they're going to be starting it up. They need to make this play, otherwise the lead is going to be absolutely insurmountable from MiSFiTS. Quinn does not have TP. She's very, very low, but CGS, they're not going to be going for the Baron, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, that situation, you saw them hovering Baron. They, blew a lot of ultis, unfortunately, from the side of CGS. They forced you off. You can't just have everybody go Dragon because they really, honestly, could have rushed that Baron. Syndra with the 2 items, Zeri with the 2 items as well.
And you have
Would have had
Kled
an
as
easy
well.
time to, yeah, would have had an easy time to take that Baron. Maybe it wouldn't have gone super quick, but they could have burger flipped it. Instead, they just decided to back off, eat the Drake that was taken away, and so sole point for MSF, about a 3K gold lead, 4K gold lead, and so it'll be interesting to see if MSF can close this out cleanly, or if they continue to let Shiba and Fritz scale on Zeri and Syndra.
Like you said though, the gold lead is only 4,000. It's not. It's very big, but it's not too big. And as we said before, CGS, they have the better skating composition. Maybe they thought that if they just they don't need to risk getting a Baron right now because it's just the sole point. You still get another chance to get the Drake, and you have the better scaling composition at all. Just keep it calm. Things aren't that bad right now. And maybe that's what CGS had going in mind, as we see a little bit of a setup
Has
here
to be
in the
careful here.
mid lane. Quinn and Villanova both has flash. So does Fritz Lulu. He has the cleanse as well, but he's gonna be figuring this out. Here comes Villanova with a flash. Oh my god, the scatter of the week is absolutely beautiful from Shiba though. And the engage is gonna get deterred. That was a pretty good engage from Villanova, but an even better disengage from Shiba and Fritz Lulu.
You saw the redemption come out, basically healing up Funny Dude to hole as Villanova still trying to make something happen.
Ooh,
Dredgeline
Dredge
barely
Line
missed his
doesn't
sprints.
work. Funny dude
Villanova
as well.
just,
Gonna be going for the encore. What are you doing, man? Your teammates are not there, and Quinn's just gonna absolutely
no.
demolish him right now. And MiSFiTS, they're gonna be looking at that Baron.
And I'm not sure CGS really has any tools to stop it. Kled all the way on the bottom side of the map with the Darius. If they opt into this, it's going to be a 3v4. Kled
Let's
will
see if
not
they're
be
able
able
to
to
do
join
it.
you.
They don't have any proper engage without that anchor. They're not able to steal it as well. Pretty good damage from Jibu there. But
Usually it looks like he wants to
that's just
go in. The rest
Baron.
of the team disengaging. And
Overall, though, that
yeah,
was a pretty good win for MiSFiTS.
yeah, and Funny Dude, this has been, he's a repeat offender. If you got caught out once, shame on me. Get caught out twice, shame on you. And he
Oh,
got
don't
caught
look at the
out a couple of
leaderboard. Don't
times.
look at the leaderboard, man.
Yeah, but I was gonna say when it was a 4K gold lead, it's quickly ballooning after that Baron take. Most of the gold lead was in jungle. Villanova getting the upper hand on Tigsy. However, now that doesn't really matter. At one point, you were able to fight, but it's going to be really, really hard for CGS to fight. They were scaling effectively. However, that's kind of petered off as MSF has quickly taken control of the game. You do see the last whisper come out. Zeri will be able to do damage in these fights, especially once he gets that third item, LDR. King Kong looking for maybe a pick.
Oh, King Kong gonna be going over with the dash, with the pullback over onto Quinn as well. The Katarina does not have the flash, and there are no wards, no minions to keep
Big
herself safe.
pick.
Meanwhile, in the min lane though, that's a lot of damage over onto the base. It looks like they're really getting this inhibitor turret
Shiba.
with the powered up minion. Shiba finds a really great engage, finds a really great stun rather, but there is no follow-up
Cuddle
engage. Here
coming
comes
through.
Fred with the ulti. MiSFiTS, they're gonna get the news here, and they're gonna use the blast cone to keep themselves away. They don't get the inhibitor, but they get one inhibitor turret, and you'll take that any day.
Yeah, it was curious to
Funny
see. I mean,
dude, woo! He's still
oh
gonna get caught with
no!
the banish. Here comes the curse of the sad mummy, and immediately the support is dead again. King Kong gonna be looking for something. Does not have the ulti, does have the flash, but without the engage from Seraphine once again. Now gonna be
Ward's
looking at
gonna get caught
Obito.
out,
Gonna
both
get
sides.
stunned. Here comes the flash with the root caller. Gonna get that kill over onto Obito. It looks like with the scatter the weak as well. Shiba, lots of damage, and King Kong is gonna be the one that able to kill. Both supports getting caught out here. Yeah.
And the good news is Funny Dude's gonna be up for this dragon, and Nautilus unfortunately will not be. The ult
Oh
won't
yeah.
be available for the Zeri, and you know, if I'm MSF, maybe I just say, hey, it's only going to be their second drink. Fritz Lulu's
Villanova
walking this
keep
up the
walking
path.
forward over onto Fritz Lulu. Fearless has a lot of damage. Here comes a scatter the weak over onto Quindo. King Kong in the middle of three people. Leaky Wallow though trying to turn it around. Doesn't get the kill over onto Fritz Lulu.
Redemption.
Meanwhile, King Kong gonna keep himself alive. Fritz Lulu
Wow.
gonna get that kill over onto Leaky Wallow. Here comes Villanova with Fearless flashing forward. Is he game for the kill?
Wow.
He's gonna get the kill. That's a shutdown. And Fritz Lulu is absolutely tearing up this team fight. MiSFiTS, what have you done? The game was in your hands, and now CGS, they're gonna be crawling themselves back into this game.
So, from what it seemed to me was Fritz Lulu was just going to die. Got chunked out. Didn't get the E over the wall. Looked like Darius was going to be able to pick up that kill. However, a big redemption coming out from Tigsy. You know, Tigsy, the unsung hero, didn't really do much in the early game. However, that redemption was huge. Kept Fritz alive just for enough time for his team to rejoin onto that Zeri, and then Zeri just did Zeri things.
What a team fight from Clown Gaming Spartans. Like we said, they have the better late game team fighting composition, and they just showcase that with Fritz Lulu going over to probably sub 100 health there at some point. But the peel from Tigsy, the peel from Funny Dude, Leaky Wallow did not have enough damage to assassinate the backline AD carry. Fearless flashing forward, but immediately he got stunned by Shiba the dog. And CGS, the early game, they had a pretty good early game. The mid game went over onto MiSFiTS, and now the late game is straight into their hands. The goal lead still in the favor of MiSFiTS, however. So we gotta keep in that. But you know, that's a really good team fight for Fritz Lulu.
And I mean, I was gonna say most of this lead is just a Mumu over Ivern. I mean, you could basically consider this game even at this point.
Pretty much.
Ivern kind of has that Moonstone. He's just gonna be going around playing support. But I will give credit where credit is due. Tigsy with the big redemption, obviously, keeping his AD carry alive, and then Funny Dude with that multi-man ult just coming, slicing through the middle of the mid lane. You know, getting caught on repeat wasn't great early on, but kind of made it up for it with that ult.
Yeah, as we see both teams now setting up for the Baron. That's going to be spawning in a minute 20. Lots of vision going over. Villanova leading the charge for the rest of his team to try to get a little bit of a flank angle.
MSF
Nobody's defending that mid laner. Nobody's defending that mid lane. It's a lot of minions over there.
GS has that mid lane pressure, you know, two really big super minions going to be marching its way down.
Plus, looks like they're going to be going for it. Here comes the flash forward from Villanova. He finds everyone with the curse of the sad mummy. And with a flick of his finger, Villanova turns this game around. He gets 3 kills for the rest of his team. And CGS, they brought themselves back, but Villanova just said right in front of them, this is my game.
Yeah, and I mean, to MSF for playing around vision. You know, CGS did not know where the rest of the team was as King Kong is stepping up.
He's just stepping into 3 people. He knows that they don't really have much damage without the Sivir Quinn. They're using the ulti to try to deal a little bit of damage over onto King Kong, but it looks like the game is not over just yet. MiSFiTS though, they are gonna get a inhibitor, and you know, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I will say I have not seen a Jackshow build on Kled. Maybe that's the new tech. But it looks like it's going to be, you know, pretty helpful. He's going to be acting as this pseudo tank as Jackshow ramps up in these team fights. You do see the Hex Drinker coming out as well as the Death Dance, and so King Kong going to be really, really scary. Level 17, lots of health, lots of damage. But MSF playing around vision well, looking for these picks. You know, Funny Dude has been the recipient a couple of times, but this time Villanova, like you said, that big ult onto pretty much everybody but Fritz Lulu.
Yeah, as we
Everyone
see
posturing
now, the Baron is alive now, yeah, and the goal lead basically does not matter. It is 4,000 the difference, but really at this point of the game, it's going to be all up to execution. Fritz Lulu versus Fearless. Let's see if Villanova can set up another massive team fight, and I feel like we need a moment to talk about that, because Villanova has been finding all these amazing engages, all these amazing ultis, multi-man ultis, and Fearless, he's there to deal the damage, so is Quinn, but Villanova, he's starting up these fights so beautifully.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty easy when they're walking into you blind, right? I'm not to discredit Villanova. They're playing extremely well, but You know, they're just using vision effectively. If somebody's gonna walk up to you and face check, you know, at a Mumu with a Nautilus and a Sivir behind them, um, they're gonna die. As Villanova
As we
looks
see,
again,
Fearless, he's gonna be propping the ulti, and Tiggsy, not
big
in this
Seraphine
position,
ult.
but the Encore rather, lands onto everyone. That's gonna be Tiggsy now gone, and King Kong in the middle of 5 people. Green trying to turn it around over there into the backside, but Fritz Lulu now has to skate over the wall. Sheba the dog is not even there in the fight. 3 people now from CGS are gone, and who needs the Baron if you could just kill the enemy players? That's gonna be only Sheba and Fritz Lulu now alive, and MiSFiTS, they're not going to opt to end, but they are going to be going towards that Baron.
I gotta make sure they get this Baron pretty quick. Death Timer is not the longest right now, and I don't think they have the greatest take. Darius needs to be on this. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. The Mumu taking a lot
That
of
is a
damage.
5-sided Sivir, though, so
Fearless, yeah, Fearless is gonna be doing a lot. I take that back.
this is perfect timing for MiSFiTS, though, because they get the Baron and the Mountain Drake. Their soul is going to be spawning in 10 seconds. They're going to need to move over here quickly, and King Kong, he's still not alive. CGS, they don't have the best setup for this. They have one controller where they're in the river, not even in the river, but yeah, MiSFiTS, they're just going to be walking over here. King Kong does have the ulti to engage, but it looks like we're going to get another team fight. Let's see if MiSFiTS can make it happen again. All 5 men strong, standing, sticking together, looking for...
Lulu doesn't have her ult.
Here comes the
Very
bandage toss, but the scatter, the wake is beautiful. Funny dude doesn't have the flash, can't even use the ulti because he doesn't have it. And now Fearless and the rest of the team, they're gonna be taking the Mountain Soul. They're gonna have the Baron. They're gonna get priority in the mid lane. They don't have the Elder, but this feels like an unwinnable game for CGS now at this point. 0-10 for Funny dude. Eee, that's not good. That's not a good showing right now.
I mean, if you're CGS, you're just hoping that MSF throws here. Maybe bites off a little bit more they can chew as they look to end the game with these Baron up minions coming in. I will say Fritz Lulu and Sheba the dog are pretty scary. Fritz, you know, with the ult,
King Kong as well.
around.
Here comes the bandage toss over onto Tiggsy. It looks like the Encore gonna be living now. 4 people looks like gonna get taken down. Quinn gonna get taken down now by Fritz Lulu, and he's trying to turn it around. Fearless doesn't have the range to go for it. And like we were just talking about, the only way CGS win this fight is if MiSFiTS throw, and that's exactly what they do. That's a double kill for Sheba. It's a double kill for Fritz Lulu, and this game is just keep going back and forth, back and forth. Who is gonna win this game, Righteous?
I mean, what can I say? The analyst skills on point. Definitely calling my shot there. No, I will say I think MSF just wasn't recognizing that, you know, Fritz Lulu does have 4 items. The ultimate coming out. He basically soloed Quinn on the backside of that fight, while, you know, King Kong did have the pinch with the ulti. Villanova, unfortunately, just used ult on Tiggsy. And if you're looking at the side of CGS, Tiggsy is not going to be the one carrying them there. So kind of a questionable ultimate decision.
They're not gonna go for it.
They did go for the end. 10 seconds on Fearless, 10 on Villanova, but MSF Quinn was up, and they did use all their ultimates. I mean, Sheba does have the ultimate, so does Tiggsy.
Don't wanna throw just like MiSFiTS did, yeah.
At this point, if you're TGS, you're gonna say, look, taking team fights and we're always down a member because we're getting picked off. We need to move as a unit. We need to be cohesive because right now MSF, they're playing around vision very, very well, but they're also, you know, fighting in these team fights extremely well. They're calling their targets. They're focusing on the same people. Villanova typically gets really good ultis, and so CGS can't be starting fights 4v5. Funny dude has to take a step back. Let the Kled go forward. Let the Ivern go forward. 10 deaths on Seraphine isn't looking great, but the ultimate would be so huge if he could land them. And now it looks like they're kind of wisening up, moving as a unit. They don't want to get caught out again. But MSF on this bot side of the map, lots of wards ready and up for this Baron, though, for CGS. Good to see that vision on that side of the map. They recognize everybody's bot.
All 10 players, except for Leaky Wallow there, in the bot lane, gonna be pushing down even without the Baron. The Baron is gonna be spawning in 2 minutes. The other gonna be spawning in in 3 minutes as well. This game is just on edge, and it's all about that team fighting execution. And like you say, CGS, they've mostly been on the back foot of these team fights. But in that last team fight that we just saw, they won a 4v5. I mean,
Yeah.
4v5, but Funny Dude kind of spawned in the middle of that fight, and the engage from Villanova over onto Tigzy was not ideal. But still, like you say, the team fighting from Fitzlulu and Shiba the dog as well, these scatter the weeks that Shiba has had, they have been absolutely phenomenal. And as long as they could just get a good disengage from that Encore, from King Kong peeling Fritz and Shiba as well, I feel like they could easily win with that 5-item Zeri, with that 5-item Shiba, with the 5-item Syndra as well, building over into that Void Stop. This is so far. This is basically what CGS want, and they're team fighting very well.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be a little brutal here. I hate GA on ADC. The reason I do it, the reason I hate it is because once you die, the rest of your team's just gonna leave you
This is true.
because you're the damage, right?
This is true.
Fritz Lulu opting into, it looks like it's gonna be Ravenous Hydra, our last item. I'd love to see Runans instead. I mean, MSF's gonna be so grouped up. Runans, we get so much value. Instead, they're gonna be looking at Ravenous maybe for a little bit more survivability with that health, with that lifesteal. But Sivir, you know, that last item GTA, you better hope that you never have to pop it. I'd much rather see another crit item to follow suit. Maybe no, I'm trying to think of, you know, crit items
A rapid
available.
fire cannon would be
Yeah.
amazing in this situation because the movement speed that it gives you and that extra range. Like we said, the range discrepancy between
Fuck
these two
no.
teams are very apparent because Fearless is the only ranged champion here, and Sivir, she's a ranged champion, but she's a very low ranged champion. You know, she has a ranged champion I think of 500 compared to Fritz
25. I think
2's
I think it's the
525.
I think it's the shortest amongst all ADCs. I think there's a couple that have that range. Like
Yeah, Lucian I
Lucian might
believe
be
is
another
also
one.
525. But yeah, the
Uh,
range discrepancy is right there. You know, Syndra's gonna be able to hit you without you being able to hit back. And Zeri as well with the ulti, if he gets that on, those rapid fires, I mean those burst fires are gonna be hitting you before you can hit back, and that's exactly why I think rapid fire would be a better thing. But maybe Fearless thinking that, you know, with the on the hunt with the GA, she's gonna be able to move forward a little bit more freely, get herself into more dangerous positions to deal overall more damage, and maybe that's what she's thinking. But I do agree with you. I think GA kind of a little bit not necessary, especially considering they already have the BT and you have a lot of CC from the
yeah,
Nautilus
and I
and
mean,
the Mumu as well.
this late in the game, if you die, your team's just gonna get wiped. I
Pretty
mean,
much,
let's be
yeah.
honest. And this fight right here is gonna decide whoever wins this fight is gonna get the Elder Dragon and it's gonna
Yeah,
get the game.
and MiSFiTS are already on it. Look at the health bar; it's absolutely melting with the damage from Fearless. TGS, they have to get in here somehow. Let's see if Tigzy can able to steal it. No, he is not. Villanova gets the Elder Dragon, and here comes the rest of the team fight. Fritz Lulu already so low. There goes the kill over onto Shiba. The rest of the team is gonna go down. CGS, that was not the right call at all. You get the kill over onto Obito, but Sivir gets a triple kill on the backside of it,
Race.
and Fritz Lulu is the only person alive.
There's
I
two
don't know.
minions. First is gonna go for the
I
end.
don't
That's
know.
all
I
he
don't know
can
if Fritz
do.
can do this. I don't know if Fritz can do this. I'm gonna be honest. Whew.
Yeah, it should go the way of you know,
Yeah, that's gonna be
MiSFiTS.
game one going over onto MiSFiTS. The game very back and forth. CGS, they had a very good early game, mid game kind of went over onto MiSFiTS, and the late game was very back and forth. But overall, MiSFiTS, they were able to take the win, and they're gonna get the first set over in this best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, not much to say. I think both teams can walk away from this game a little bit disappointed in how they approached the mid to late game. You know, Funny Dude getting caught on repeat. Some bad team fights taken by MSF near the end. So maybe they both go back to the drawing board and say, you know, there's some things that we liked, there's some things that we didn't like. Let's go out and win this game too. Do or die for CGS. MSF wants to get that sweep, so we'll see. But for now, we're gonna take a quick break as we get into game 2 draft.
We'll see you there. Hey everyone, what is going on? I am Wolfizia back here with Righteous for the second game of Clown Gaming Spartans versus MiSFiTS here in the Phoenix League. And that last game, Righteous, oh my god.
43 minutes slugfest. Punches were thrown back and forth, and back and forth again. It'll be interesting to see if game 2 lives up to the game 1 hype, or if somebody can maybe play a little bit cleaner.
Definitely. Hope they do. Hopefully they do play cleaner because my voice is currently dying because of what they did. Anyway, we head into the draft here for game 2. Tarek, Silas, and Sivir now taken away from MiSFiTS. Meanwhile, MiSFiTS ban out the Ezreal again, and Azong as the Amumu and Maokai with the first pick Seraphine. What are you thinking so far?
I mean, funny dude probably just had the worst game of his life on that pick, and they first pick it. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, no offense to Funny Dude, but that Seraphine did not look like it was the most fun to play in that game.
Although to be fair, Funny Dude's encores were amazing. The only problem as to why we didn't like the pick last game was because he kept getting caught, and he just kept getting caught, and then he got caught again. And I feel like if he just remedied that and stopped getting caught, then the Seraphine pick would be fun because the encores that he had that game was absolutely amazing for CGS.
Yeah, MiSFiTS, they're keeping to their brand, going in. Zach locked in as well as Galio. You know, you get a quick Zach E into an ult, gives time to Galio to come down over the top of you. Really big team fight potential right now for MSF. But yeah, you're right. The Seraphine ults were hitting pretty hard. It just seemed like CGS, sorry, weren't always on the same page. You know, Seraphine would hit like a 4-man ult, but Zeri and the Syndra were never there to follow up with damage. And then we tried to play team fight, we tried to not, and it was just kind of weird. But CGS locks in a Poppy. You know, the Ivern that we saw from CGS last game had its moments. I do think Poppy will be a little bit easier to pilot, looking for picks, looking for some skirmishes, really strong on the 2v2, the 3v3. Deny this Zach his jump. You see him coming over the top, you just hit W. All of a sudden Zach, you know, part of his kit just wiped completely. And then the Anivia going to be locked in as well. Maybe some Poppy Anivia wall action into the headbutt. Love to see it. But I do think...
yeah.
I was just say I do think CGS draft's a lot easier to pilot this time around than in game 1.
Yeah, like you said, with the Zach E, gonna get stopped by that Poppy W. It's Poppy Anivia giving me some throwbacks to Worlds 2016. I don't know if you were there, but ANX, they got through the group stage with that Poppy, with that Anivia, and they're pairing it up with the Seraphine here. Pretty good engage so far, pretty good disengage as well. And MiSFiTS, gonna have to see what they're gonna pair up with the Zach and the Galio. So far, a little bit of a weird pick order. They're hovering Cassidy right now. So many AD carries are still alive. So many junglers right now in such a bot lane focused meta. Ooh. They're trying to focus over onto the laners, and they're going to be picking the Kassadin, which makes me wonder where they're going to put the Galio. There's no way they're going to bring back Galio top, are they?
It has to be Galio support. I think you basically shown your cards at this point. However, I don't like 3 melees into Anivia. The reason being is the Poppy's going to be able to create a lot of space with that W. Unless Cassidy can, you know, make it to level 16 and be really, really fed and one-shot people on the back line as he chases them down with ult, it's going to be really hard to get onto this Anivia, this Poppy, this Seraphine. Lots of, you know, space-creating tools with the ultimate, with the wall, with the Poppy W, the Seraphine E, and ult. 3 melees into Anivia is going to feel really, really bad, especially if CGS can get to the objectives early. But we see some bans coming out. Kled could be taken away. They don't want to see that again in the top lane. It did look really, really nice early on in the game. And then Draven taken away from CGS, or from MSF, sorry.
Yeah, and MiSFiTS now, they're gonna be taking away their own Darius. Suppose, you know, Darius a pretty good into, I'd say, Zach and Galio, if they're planning to go Zach top, maybe. On your point about the Galio support, though, ever since they removed the availability of you being able to flash while casting your W on Galio, Galio support has kind of been, it's really been non-existent ever since then. And while in this composition, I'd say it's pretty good, you know, with the engage, go in, it's fairly, you're going to need to find a spot for this Galio because the top lane, fairly okay, but you're gonna be blinding that into what CGS have, and now MiSFiTS they can put their AD carry here, and then maybe slot a counter pick for that R5 to really make sure their pieces are in the right order based off of what CGS have, and we're gonna see that right now with their
If
pick with the Zaya.
if Fritz Lulu picks Caitlyn here, that's the pick, in my opinion. You're gonna be able to bully this Galio and this Zaya with the auto attack range. It's gonna be really, really hard for MSF to ever get on top of you because of the Anivia, because of the Poppy. Instead, hovering Jinx kind of does the same thing. I think Kate is just so much stronger right now. Um,
Yeah,
we
the
never, we never,
power. Mhm.
we never just, we'll never hate a Jinx game. I mean, you remember NA last year? It seemed
Oh
like
yeah.
it's like all of a sudden only anybody who is anybody is playing Jinx for whatever reason. It was kind of weird.
The meta last year, like 2022 spring, that was the perfect meta for AD carries, Jinx and Aphelios. I just have to
Yeah.
say, such a fun meta. I have to be honest. But yeah, CGS they're gonna be picking the Jinx here. Gonna be interesting to see what top laner they're gonna be picking it up. So far, they have pretty decent backline damage with the Anivia, with the Jinx, pretty good mediator in the Seraphine, and a very good tank in the Poppy. Really interesting to see what they're going to be picking up, and they're hovering Warwick right now. Uh, I don't know
Infamous
how good that
Warwick
is
top.
here.
Oh, he's gonna go to
Volibear?
Volibear. He's a
There
Volibear
it
main. Yep.
is. Yeah, what are you thinking about this?
Um, Volibear had its time in the limelight, last season, maybe a couple seasons ago, the ability to turn off the towers for the tower dive. Obviously, I think this is going to be a top lane Volibear. Could, you know, really, really bully a lane matchup. Last pick is going to be top for MSF, and it looks like Fiora is going to be the counter to the Volibear pick. For post, you have to time it. It's pretty easy. Volibear is pretty vocal about what he's trying to stun you. He yells, he growls, he goes on all fours. You just click a W as soon as he tries to auto attack you. Maybe he can bite it out. But the Volibear does put out a lot of pressure. His passive ramps up. He can, shove waves relatively easily. So it'll be interesting to see how the top lane plays out. I don't know off the top of my head. I would say it's Fiora favored in this matchup. But I don't know. We'll see. I do like CGS's draft. You have a Poppy and a Volibear that can create a lot of space, lots of CC, and a Nivea that creates lots of space with the ult, with the wall, a lot of disruption, and then the Seraphine to keep everybody alive with the W, with the ult. While that whole time you just have Jinx free hitting with rockets. It's gonna be really, really hard for MSF to ever get on top of this team with Zac, with Galio, with Kassadin. I expect the bot lane's going to go in the favor of CGS just because Galio really doesn't do much until level 3. So I think if I'm MSF, I'm trying to play around this Fiora, and I'm trying to almost never team fight. I just want to put pressure on side lanes with the Kassadin, with the Fiora, have Galio kind of play in the mid lane, be able to match both depending on, where CGS goes, because team fights it's going to be really, really hard. Fiora doesn't really excel in team fights. Galio, Zac, have a potent combo, Zaya as well with the ult, but team fights really just aren't it for MSF in my opinion. So look for a lot of side lane pressure with that Fiora pick, with that Kassadin. Make lots of picks like they were doing before with the vision control. Whereas CGS, they just want to get to objectives first, tighten up and play their comp. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, I definitely agree your point on the MiSFiTS no team fight. The composition they have originally from the Zac and the Galio first picks, it looks like they were going for an engaged composition, but with the pickup of the Kassadin and the Zaya and the Fiora as well, they kind of pivoted the composition from a engaged composition into a more scaling side lane sort of composition. Zaya overall in this lane, in the Seraphine Jinx lane, might not be the most fun considering the range matchup, but I still think as long as you could get through that early game, you could get through that mid game, the side laning potential that MiSFiTS have is going to be absolutely huge as long as they don't get mitigated and as long as they don't get put in a worse position than CGS. CGS, on the other hand, though, we're looking for team fights. We're looking for engages from the Poppy, from the Volibear, and getting that Jinx ahead. We need to make sure that Jinx can just go everywhere and demolish everything without fear. And I feel like that's going to be CGS's win condition against MiSFiTS. But with MiSFiTS, with the Fiora, with the Kassadin, like we've been talking about side laning, that's going to be very difficult for an immobile Anivia and an immobile Volibear to be able to, answer. And I'm really interested to see what CGS have in mind.
Yeah, and I believe MiSFiTS was the one that didn't have a TP on their team. Did pick up the win. However, I think you just gotta pick TP here if you're Kassadin, if you're Fiora. If you're gonna play this side lane oriented composition, get pressure ahead. Put pressure on bot. Look for TP to Baron. Pressure top. Look for a dragon. That's how you're gonna have to play with numbers advantages. Otherwise, like I said, team fights are probably going the way of CGS. I will say, I was favoring MiSFiTS going into game 2, just riding that high, winning that 40-minute slugfest. But I think CGS has the better comp. I'm gonna give them the prediction here. Wolfie, how about you?
Yeah, I definitely do agree. I am a team fight guy, and the composition that CGS have themselves for here, the Jinx, the Anivia, very good backline. And as long as you could keep Kassadin away from that, you'll be perfectly fine. You'll breeze through the late game as long as you keep Jinx and Anivia alive. With that though, we have our predictions ready. We have the game ready, and we'll be heading into our spectator delay. Don't go anywhere. Hey everyone, welcome back to game two of MiSFiTS versus Clown Gaming Spartans. I am Wolfisia here with Righteous, and after that first game, it was an absolute slobberknocker, and these team compositions definitely going to be showing a
It's
lot.
going
Here
right back
comes
into
the
it.
double stun rather into the river. Villanova has to use the elastic slingshot to get himself out of there. Uses the flash as well. That was a beautiful stun from Shiba, and Villanova already does not have the flash.
We're picking up right where we left off, right where we like to see it. Kofi getting his paycheck secured. He's gonna be doing lots of work. These teams are taking it to each other. Villanova has to not only burn his flash, but start E, which feels pretty rough for Zach Clear. You love to have that W, you know, cooldown reduce as you pick up your blob. So interesting to see what he does in terms of clear. It looks like he's just gonna start bot. Maybe go straight to Gromp and then go from there. Meanwhile, Easy also starting bot. You know, Poppy doesn't have the greatest time with Krugs. However, you know, clears Raptors pretty well. So I'll be curious to see if they end up skipping Krugs, just going straight to Raptors into topside. But other than that, everything looks pretty much squared away. We see the Ghost coming out from Fritz Lulu, not playing this area this time, but going to have lots and lots of move speed, especially on those resets. And yeah, everything looks like it's pretty normal, pretty
Yeah,
average, as we would say.
pretty average, at least compared to the game that we had in the previous, which had I
And
believe
no
it was.
more Ivern pick. We do have a Galio support, but King Kong taking lots and lots of damage already.
Yeah, the well, the wave is pushing into Leaky Wallow just like we saw last game, but the health advantage for Leaky Wallow is in favor of him now. If we take a look at the bot lane, which is, I'm assuming a little bit more action. Never mind, we're gonna see some trading up there in the top lane. Good riposte to block out some of the damage, but unfortunately, it does not stun King Kong. And here we go in the bot lane, as I was saying. Um, we already see the push. I mean, the priority already for Fritz Lulu with that double range matchup going up against a very low range Zaya and a Galio. This is exactly what I was talking about with the Jinx getting ahead. This is exactly what you want for Clutch. I mean, Clown Gaming Spartan. But in
Nova
the bot
is
lane though,
here. Will be spotted
Villanova,
out.
he does not have flash, but Obito does. He goes in for the flash. Justice Punch, and Funny Dude is gonna get staunted, and he's gonna get first blood, just like usual. You'd love to see it.
Yeah, funny dude, not having the best series of his life. You know, both sums available. Didn't burn heal, didn't burn flash. Leaky
Here comes the
Waldo.
back over in the top lane though, double flash from the top laner. But Wiggy
Oh.
Whoa, he's gonna turn it around, gonna get that kill over onto King Kong. Let's see if he has the damage to be able to turn it around against Tigsy as well. Does not have the post, but he does have the tower. And he's gonna be walking towards this wave as well. Beautiful place from Leaky Wallow.
Yep, and MSF winning out on both sides of the map so far. 1-0 for this Fiora, 1-0 for this Zaya. Obito.
Justice Punch, but the taunt is not there from Obito, and the stun from Funny Dude finds a lot of joy, and Fritz Lulu still trying to go for the kill onto Obito, but does not have the damage. Here comes the beat drop from Funny Dude, but the wraparound from Villanova. Fearless has to flash away from the zap, but here comes Villanova, the elastic slingshot, gonna cause a flash from Fritz Lulu. Funny Dude still as it is, and it's a 3v2 full of action in the bot lane, but in the end, no one dies.
Yep. I will say advantage to MSF. It gets all of the summoner spells out from this very immobile Fritz Lulu. There's no summons on Fearless as well, but they do have the E pull back, a little bit of self peel that way as King Kong misses both CS there. Yeah, Fritz Lulu, Funny Dude, they want to play aggressive because they do have that rain advantage, but they have to be a little bit tempered with it because they are very immobile. The Zac does present a lot of problems. They're not in a team fight quite yet, right? So not a lot of peeling tools available to them currently at this time. So they do have a massive CS lead, 33 CS on that Jinx compared to the 15 for
Oh wow.
Fearless and Xayah. So you gave up an early kill. It does feel bad, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, the pick's still working out. Remember, this is still Jinx, Seraphine versus Galio, Xayah. As we talk about them, though, Obito gonna be finding that taunt. The Flame Chompers, unfortunately, not gonna be finding a snare. But Fritz Lulu so incredibly low. Fearless is absolutely brave right now. I don't think he's able to find the kill down in the ball lane. Meanwhile, in the top side, King Kong gonna be dealing a lot of damage over onto Leaky Wallow. Both junglers are not here because Villanova is in the ball lane looking for something. Shiba the dog gonna be finding that stun over onto him as well. The wall with the blast cone. Shiba, you are an absolute beast. He gets the knock up over the wall to feed the kill over onto Fritz Lulu. Let's make sure he actually gets it first.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. And wow, I have to say that was a very, very big brain play from Shiba.
Yeah, and how bad does it feel for Fearless and Obito playing it really well? The Flame Chomper is dodging out on. It comes down to basically one auto, unable to get into the range for it with the slow coming out from Seraphine, and so advantage to Jinx. Gets a free kill, really well played by Shiba the dog.
Leaky Wallow in the top lane. King Kong very, very low. Ooh, this top lane.
Yeah, we see the
yeah,
power
as you were
of
saying?
Fiora coming out. I was just gonna say we're seeing the power of Fiora come out. Like we were talking about before, Volibear is pretty easy to identify. We just like trying to load up a stun. Lots of sustain, the grasps from Leaky Wallow, the vital procs. King Kong, I think once he gets an item in, will be faring a little bit better. However, that early kill definitely doesn't help him. Gonna have to back here. Probably gonna lose maybe a wave and a half. If
Does
Leaky
not have
Wallow
the
decides
TP.
to. Yep. He's just gonna try to slow push this in. Oh.
Yeah,
As
I
he-
mean, so far, unlike last game, Leaky Wallow is the one having the betterment of King Kong in the top lane. Shiba is there to pick up the wave, and it looks like they're doing a real quick lane swap just so that Shiba can get that wave in the top lane, doesn't go to waste. State of the game right now, though, gold lead in the favor of MiSFiTS, not really that surmountable. It's only about 500, and most
basically
of
first
that.
kill, bud.
Yeah, most of that is kind of in the CS for Quinn and Leaky Wallow's kill as well. Fritz Lulu does have the kill and has a pretty good CS advantage in the bot lane, but the mid lane and top lane is going really, really good for MiSFiTS. Kind of what we were expecting. Kasadin not really having the best lane here, especially against such a high range Anivia. Meanwhile, the bot lane though, Jinx and Seraphine getting a better hand of Xayah and Galio. So far, things are going as expected.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Kassadin's, getting the CS lead. I wouldn't imagine that he's having a very fun time into the Anivia. However, he does have, about 10 CS on the Anivia. Maybe he had just had a better back timer or something. Because I can't imagine this is Kassadin favored.
Yeah, may just be finding some good trades and maybe just a little bit of terrible CSing from Shiba. So he gets a pretty good trade. That's exactly what we want. And Nova! He goes in with the elastic slingshot, steals away the Cloud Drake, and here comes a knockup with a 3-man taunt from Obito. Villanova is still alive, trying to turn it around though. Is Fritz Lulu? That's a snare onto the AD carry. Here comes Kassadin now. Tiggs in a very bad position. Fun dude, what are you doing, man? You're walking straight into the loving arms of Fearless. And Jinx and Poppy are still alive there, by the way. I just want to say that out. Kassadin Looking for him. Let's see. Goes there. Finds the flash. But doesn't have enough damage now. The Q
Oh!
from Villanova, but he likes the extinct shot. Kind of looked a little bit funny there, but this is definitely a kill over onto Fritz Lulu. So Felix gets that shutdown, which is pretty good, but Villanova takes away the Drake. Meanwhile, on the top lane, here comes the ulti from King Kong and Leaky Warlow as well. Let's see who wins this 1v1. See if he can turn it around. This King Kong. Leaky Warlow goes for the flash in. Follow flash from King Kong, and no solo bolo today.
Oh, I will say it could have been a massive win for MSF if Quinn just opened his eyes and ulted onto the funny dude that was 2 HP running away from Zaya. However, funny dude gets out somehow. Not sure, quite sure how. The Q, the prediction from Villanova saying, I bet Jinx is sitting there trying to back, stops the back, ends up getting another kill onto his AD carry. And so what could have been, a massive blow for CGS ultimately ends up into, losing the dragon to a sick steal from Villanova and only a couple kills. It could have been, probably almost 4 kills. Anuya wasn't that healthy. Poppy wasn't that healthy. Managing to get out by the skin of their teeth, but Villanova with the
Here
E.
comes a gank with the elastic sing shot. There's just a sponge is gonna take away the flash from Fritz Lulu, but here comes the Q from Villanova. That's a little bit of damage from Funny Dude over onto him. He does not have the flash, but there's no vision. There's no vision in the bush for Fritz Lulu to deal some damage. And the Blade Caller is gonna get that kill over onto Funny Dude. 0-2 right now, and I don't know what to say, man.
I will say this: Zach is such a powerful champion right now
Oh,
on
yeah.
this patch. 50 above 50% win rate, not only in the jungle but also in support, mid, and top. You could really take this champ anywhere and do well on it. So Villanova happy to pick that up. Looked really good on the Moo. A little bit shaky here. You kind of face check in level 1, having to EOA and flash out, but still doing work. 0-1 and 2. Having positive impact on the side of Tigsy, looking a lot better on this Poppy than he did on the Wyvern. And I will say, the gold lead, about 1,500 for MSF. But I will say the scaling still is on CGS's side. The team fight is still on CGS's side. It'll be interesting to see in this mid and late game how MSF approaches it with this gold lead. But I still think CGS, has a little bit of an advantage just based on the team comp they have drafted. But it could kind of fall out pretty quick.
Yeah, it should be up to execution because both bot laners right now sitting in a very comfortable position. Fearless with that Kraken Slayer at 12 minutes, 11:30. Very, very strong right now. So is Fritz Lulu. As we talk about though, Villanova gonna get knocked up with the Keeper's Verdict, trying to get away with the elastic sing shot, but the steadfast presence is amazing. She's the dog gonna get that kill over onto Quinn. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Fearless is gonna die to Fritz Lulu, and as we were talking about the game being even, CGA take the game into their hand in the top lane though. Lots of damage over onto King Kong. Here comes the Grand Challenge. Gonna get issued by Leaky Waldo. No flash from either side, and the bear is, I don't think they're surviving this one. Here comes another lunge. The riposte is not there to stun, and that's a lot of damage with a healing from King Kong. See if the bear can turn it around. So much damage, so much healing. It is insane. Leaky Waller, can you win? Yes, you can. With the repose, he takes the kill away. And that was a very interesting 1v1 there, I have to be honest.
I mean, King Kong using the bush tremendously. I mean, he was in and out of vision, making it really hard for Fiora to, lay down some autos.
Oh, it looks like Shibo is gonna get that kill in the top lane though. Doesn't have the flash, is Leaky Wallow. Maybe he can turn this around onto the Nivea. Here comes the wall, the E to slow him down, guarantee the stun, but the ulti is not gonna land. Elastic slingshot just barely misses. And Leaky Waldo is gonna keep himself alive. Meanwhile, Villanova dealing a lot of damage over onto Shiba. No follow-up for the rest of CGS, so that's just some trading there in the top lane.
And it's really interesting. I mean, Villanova did his job, right? He got Leaky Wallow out on that Fiora, but I don't know why you're burning ultimate there. All right, you're not gonna have this ultimate for this Ocean Drake. A really big tool. Now just gone because I mean, Zach's good. Don't get me wrong. OP on this patch, but I don't think you're solo killing the Nivea in that situation.
Yeah. A little bit of a questionable play, but overall, I'd still say that was a pretty good play from Lingawalo, getting that kill and getting out safely without Shiba getting the shutdown. State of the game right now, gold lead in favor of CGS. Like we said earlier, just kind of a 700 gold lead right now, not really that big. But the Ocean Drake is going to be spawning, this is going to be CGS first Drake, and they have the perfect route over into the river. It doesn't even look like MiSFiTS are going to try to contest for this because they don't have prio in the bot lane, and the mid lane wave looks like they're going to be trying to get a prio over there, but they're already onto this river is CGS, and
And I
they're
will
starting up
say,
the Drake as well.
Zach doesn't have his ultimate available, but he does have his E. Can be followed up with the Galio ult. They have to
See
be
if he could
careful.
steal it again. That would be great. Fritz Lulu
They have to,
getting some damage over the wall.
have to be careful in
Uh-huh.
this fight because they're fighting in pit, right? I mean, Galio has his W, Zach has his
Ooh,
E.
this is a really good team fight though. Leaky Wallow has the TP, meanwhile King Kong does not. It's a 5v4. The Drake does go over to Fritz Lulu, but the disengage from CGS. Keeper's Verdict not even gonna land onto everyone. Elastic Slingshot with the Galio ultimate. It's a double knockout. Fritz Lulu's gonna die. Here comes the rest of the damage from Fearless. That's a double kill for the AD carry. Now Quinn looking very hungrily towards Funny Dude. They get the Drake, but they lose 2 people for it. I don't know if that was for CGS.
I will say it's worth because you're preventing drag stacking, right? You're preventing yourself having to contest that third Drake. Obviously the kill is going over, not the most conducive to your cause, but that's how you use side lane pressure effectively. King Kong, all you can do is sit there and wail on that tower. You know, losing out on the 1v1, had to TP back up top side to keep Leaky Wallow from getting more of an advantage. But Leaky Wallow says, hey, I'll just shove out my wave, TP bot, have a numbers advantage, and this teamfight comp that you've drafted, you know, you're missing one member. And so they use the number advantage wisely. They pick up a couple kills. They do lose out on that Drake, but Fearless, despite the CS deficit, 5-1 on this Xayah pick, and you're going to be playing around him until Castanon starts to come online.
Oh, that's a lot of damage onto Leaky Wallow in the top lane, though. King Kong might have just turned it around. The Riposte is going to keep himself alive for just a little bit longer, but King Kong is going to get that absolutely massive shutdown solo kill in the top lane.
And that's really big. Like I said before, I think once he starts getting some items, it gets a little bit scarier for this Sphere. It looks like he's going to pick up the Iceborne Gauntlet, that Sheen proc with the W, with the Q, does lots and lots of damage, kind of catching Leaky Wallow off guard.
Lots of trading here in the mid lane and the top lane as well. Quinn trying to turn it around, get the kill over onto King Kong, but Tugzi is going to be here to keep his top laner alive. That's a lot of damage on Kasadin. But yeah, as you were saying...
Oh, I was just saying, I think Volibear will be able to match the Fiora a little bit more effectively. You know, still down a Mythic, going to be able to back and complete that Iceborne Gauntlet. And, you know, lots and lots of sustain for the Volibear. The W, you know, using it once, using it again, going to be healing him a lot. It's interesting to see the PTA taken as well. It's typically, you know, see grass come out from the Volibear, but I think PTA is the really effective pivot. We see mid lane tower go down with the pressure from blue side, because it makes the Fiora a little bit more squishier than they're used to, right? The PTA procs, all of a sudden you hit them with the E and a W and you lose half your health. And so really well played from King Kong. And the map pressure, blue side just taking their lead and running with it. Knocking it out mid wave, gonna take this Rift Herald up for free.
Yeah, things are looking pretty good for CGS, especially after that kill over onto Leaky Wallow. That tier 1 turret very, very low now in the top lane. Both tier 1s in the bot lane gonna get taken down. Meanwhile, the mid lane though, tier 1 turret for MiSFiTS is down. Meanwhile, CGS still has theirs up. And so far, as we were saying, both teams kind of on even footing, throwing blows back and forth. But I want to point focus onto the bottom lane of both teams right now. Fearless 5-1 with that Kraken. It looks like he might be opting for maybe a Navori second or a Stormrazor. In the bot lane though, actually,
Villanova
maybe not in a
are
good
gonna get
position,
pinched.
but in the top lane, here comes Obito with the flash and the taunt in the bot lane. It's 2 fights happening at the exact same time, but Villanova is not gonna get out of this one. There goes the passive getting procced, and he is gonna get fed to the wolves while Leaky Wallow gets away. In the top lane, King Kong has to use his ulti to keep himself alive, and here comes Fearless trying to make that cross-map play happen because they just lost their jungler in the bot lane. A little bit overzealous there from Villanova, I believe, because he was trying to steal the red buff, but it didn't really work out.
King Kong just gonna be able to pick up this farm. He knows he can't engage, can't stop the back, but with the Rift Herald, tier 2 is gonna go down in mid, and really, really aggressive from Leaky Wallow and Villanova. Able to get pinched on by CGS, you know, collapsed from all angles. The Nivea wall and ult doing so much work there. Villanova ultimately the only one to go down, but the red buff wasn't even secured, and so I was curious to see kind of where the gold leads are coming from, and it's interesting that Jinx, despite only being 3-2-1, because of that CS advantage, is actually up 300 gold on the 5-1-0 Zaya. Shiba
We see
gonna be able to
Elastic
blast
shot
him
in the bot
away.
lane. I believe most of that gold lead on the Jinx as well stems from the immense pressure that they had in the bot lane. Obviously, with the push power, you're gonna get a CS discrepancy, but you're also gonna get a lot of plates down in the bot lane. And I assume Fritz Lulu, with the help of that first Herald, if you remember, they put it down there
Yep.
in the bot lane, and I am assuming Fritz Lulu got most of that plate gold as well, which is why he's standing very, very strong. Already has a second item in the PD, which is PD.
Yeah,
What are
I'd
you
like to
thinking? What
see
are you
the.
thinking?
I mean, we're talking about 13.1 like B here, right? So I'd love to see the Infinity Edge come out as that second item, especially when you're ahead. Gonna be doing a lot of damage when you
Yeah.
do get those crits. PD not horrible. Gives yourself a lot of mobility in these team fights, especially with that go. It's gonna be really really hard to lock
Oh,
Lulu
there goes the
down.
stun over onto Quindo. The
Big
encore
ult.
is absolutely huge. The knockup and the super mega death rocket follows it up. Fritz Lulu is gonna get the first kill onto Obito. Meanwhile, Villanova is gonna steal the Chemtake Drake actually, which is absolutely massive. He's gonna die in the end, it looks like. But
Oh,
MiSFiTS,
gonna
no,
turn
they're
their
not gonna die. They're gonna
they're
go for
gonna
the
turn
Baron,
to
it looks
Baron.
like.
Yep.
Yeah, so MiSFiTS, they do. Oh my god, what is happening here, Zach? MiSFiTS do lose their support, but Villanova, with another miracle play, manages to steal the Chemtech Drake. And I'd say that's a pretty good win for MiSFiTS, as long as they can deter CSG from getting the Baron.
MiSFiTS has no idea that this is happening right now. The blue ward
Oh,
eventually
now they
comes
do.
out. Baron is half health. Villanova is so
Villanova,
low.
he's so
She
low,
has
it
to
looks
actually
like
flash out.
Shiva just might kill him. Here comes the zap. Villanova has to elastic swing shock. Does not have the flash, but let's see if he can still. No, he is not able to. Poppy gets that kill. Fearless might get stunned here as well. It's a lot of damage from the mid laner of CGS. Quinn gonna rift walk over there, but that's just a free Baron for CGS.
Okay, the dust looks like it's settling right now. So let me talk for a little bit about what just happened. The ultimate on Seraphine was great. Down in bot lane, zoning 3 members. However, the only person he didn't zone is Villanova. Villanova says, this is a losing team fight. We don't have the team fight comp. I'm just going to go ahead and focus Drake. The support in Obito does go down to the Jinx. However, Drake secured by Villanova, which is really, really good. The Chemtech Drake, you're stopping the Drake stack on a team that wants the team fight, as King Kong
The
looks like
top lane
he's going to
though.
be caught out.
Yeah, in the middle of 3 people, that is an absolutely massive wave, but that is nothing compared to all 5 members of MiSFiTS. Here is Stigsy with the presence, the steadfast presence, elastic sing shot, following it up with the grand entrance there, but the encore is just always so beautiful. Obito gonna be getting dealt a lot of damage, and King Kong gets away.
Yep, King Kong still had the ultimate available, got a little bit of help with that ult proccing, got a little bit of health back, and then funny dude, in those chokes, Seraphine ult, so clutch, looking a lot more comfortable this game than he did the last game, as Tigsy looking to go aggressive on Obito. Obito
Oh,
might just
that
be
is a
dead.
stun over the rubble. Obito is gonna get killed by Fritz Lulu now with a zap landing and those rockets. That is absolutely lethal from Fritz Lulu. It's the double kill in the mid lane. The
They
inhibitor
pushing
took
for
it.
N?
Get it. 22 minutes in. I don't know if they can go for this. Here comes Quinn. That's a little bit of damage onto Elastic Sing Shot. The steadfast presence is beautiful though. Quinn has a lot of damage. Gonna get caught up in the choppers. He does still have the red walk and he does have the flash, but he opts not to go for the Fritz. But Fritz literally, he's just attacking so freely. The inhibitor is gonna go down. It's 3 people against 4. I mean, all 5 rather. Obito is now alive, but there's no abilities. There's no ultis from either Obito or Ricky Waldo. They're gonna be trying to turn it around here, it looks like. Looking for a possible pick off. Villanova with the elastic shot to the side. That is a pretty good stun from Shiba. MiSFiTS, they're posturing.
Walk away.
They won this fight, but I don't know if they can really pull the trigger. The ulti from Funny Dude is gonna be spawning soon. Fearless is gonna get caught out. Here comes the ulti rather. Gonna keep keeping himself alive for just a little bit longer. TC in the front line, gonna be canceling on Obito, but in the back line, Fitz is in a terrible position. He is gonna get killed here by Quinn, it looks like. And the fight is just absolutely going crazy now. Leaky Waldo trying to turn it around, get the kill over onto Tiggsy. Here comes Villanova with the knockoff over onto King Kong, and Quinn, he's still so alive, but Shiva, he is full health. That is another kill over onto Shiba gets a double kill with the help of the minions, and so far it's a 4v4. Mid laner alive. Villanova keeping himself alive. I don't know if he can defend his space though.
Yeah, I mean, you have 4 seconds coming out from the bot lane, so Shiba can't look for the end there. Just gonna push in the wave, have it bounce back. Like I was saying before, MSF just needed to let Blue team walk away. Blue team was trying to leave, and MSF opted into that fight, and we saw the power of the Anivia. I mean, the melees, you know, they did get the kill on the backline. Fritz Lulu went down, Funny Dude went down, Tigsy and King Kong ultimately went down. However, the Anivia was just doing so much work. The burn coming out from the Leandries, the wall, the ults, was the TP.
Oh. We're gonna
Expended
TP
from
here.
Kassadin.
Kind of turning around. The Shiba, the dog, is kind of in a bit of a position right now. Does have the flash. Here comes the beat drop. It's not gonna root him up, but here comes the stun into the wall from Tigsy. Now Shiba is the one prowling for some prey. The Ocean Drake gonna be, oh, the Chemtech Drake rather, I believe it is gonna be spawning in 25 seconds, and they have a fast track straight into the pit.
They have no way in now, right? I mean, Villanova will be up, and maybe he can come up with another Miracle E still. I don't think CGS is gonna let that happen this time around, but I could be wrong. But once you have this team postured around an objective like this, it's so hard for MiSFiTS to ever to walk in. I mean, you really have to engage with the Villanova E. Hopefully, you know, you're hoping that Poppy doesn't have the W available. You can get that E to land and then follow it up with Obito's ult. But otherwise, like we saw in the mid lane chase, it's so hard to stick on these characters. Anivia with the ult, with the wall. You know, Funny Dude with the E, with the W. Jinx with her passive once she gets going with a kill. I mean, it's just a team fight comp reaching its fullest potential, and it doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, and as we were saying in the draft, what we wanted to see from MiSFiTS is side laning, pick off some champions, and what they're doing is they're just kind of diving headfirst into the team fight that CAGS want, and that's exactly what their composition doesn't want. They're just diving headfirst into these 5v5s, and we can see, yes, they did get that kill onto Fritz Lulu in the last fight. Yes, they were able to get onto that backline, but you're not going to be able to get that miracle engage, that miracle flank access every fight. And that's showing in the game right now because CGS are really far ahead right now. They have they just got the Drake. The Baron's gonna be spawning in 30 seconds. They're in prime position to be able to take that. Gold lead in favor of them as well. Looks like it's a 5,000 gold lead for CGS, and Shiba the dog is just so strong right now. I don't know what MiSFiTS can do.
Yeah, I mean, you basically have 1.5k gold lead, the Jinx over the Xayah. You have 1.5k on an Anivia over the Kassadin. The only gold lead in favor of MSF right now is in the top lane, and if we're not going to side lane and put pressure with that Fiora pick, I mean, they did it so well in that dragon fight where King Kong had to use TP, Leaky Walla had the TP advantage, and they took the 4v5 advantage, ended up securing a Drake and a couple kills. But since that point, they have not executed this comp to what it needs to be. Kassadin Fiora, it's basically 1-3-1 comp, right? And instead, we're just opting in team fights over and over and over. We're letting blue team set up on objectives.
Let's see if Villanova can go for it again. The steadfast presence from Tigsy is going to cancel him out. He does not have the flash. Here comes Quinn with the Galio ulti. The Encore doesn't really land onto anyone. Goes golden immediately. Is Quinn. Fearless is not being able to deal any damage right now. The team fight is absolutely chaotic. No one has died just yet, but the health bars from MiSFiTS are getting decimated. That's a double kill for Fritz Lulu. Shiba gets his first kill of the team fight, and so far Quinn is the only person that is staying alive. He's gonna try to turn it around on the Tigsy, and he's able to find it, but the rest of the team of CGS is gonna barrel it down to mid game, to the mid lane, and it looks like we're gonna be jumping straight into a game 3 here, Righteous.
I mean, we'll see. There's still a chance that somehow CGS pulls a MiSFiTS and dies in the enemy team's base with Baron up, but it looks like if all goes well, they're gonna be able to melt these towers. I mean, it's up to Quinn to kind of try to cause something to happen.
She doesn't have the Zonyas. He is gonna pull Fritz Lulu very, very low. Here comes Fearless and Obito. The tower is still alive. Elastic Slingshot to defend their base. Fearless is getting so much damage. Oh my god, Shiba is so strong. Has to flash over the wall, keep himself alive. Obito trying to look for that engage. And they kind of defended properly, but then they're just kind of walking headfirst, one by one, into the loving arms of CGS. Oh, the passive from Zacto, keep himself alive. Shiba dealing a lot of damage. Gonna get that kill over onto Leaky Wallow, and Fearless is gonna walk head first and just immediately get decimated. That is gonna be the win for Clown Gaming Spartan in Game 2, and we are gonna be getting a Game 3 here, Righteous. We have a series on our hands.
And Shiva probably did about, I don't know, 1 billion damage that game. I mean, these melee champs, that short range from Fearless, having to walk through the inhibitor every team fight, they're kind of just ramming their head into a wall, taking so much damage. And so I'm curious to see how much damage Anivia did. Yeah, 33,000 in a 28-minute game. I mean, that tells you all you need to know. Blue team was definitely going to win that game once the wheels started coming off for MSF. And so we are going to game 3, and we'll see you here soon for draft.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the quintessential game three between Misfits and Clown Gaming Spartans. Game one, absolute Slobonaka. Game two, a little bit unexpected, but game three, we are going to be diving into the draft here very, very soon. How excited are you, Righteous? Because I know I am 100% excited.
Yeah, we went from like a 43-minute barn burn slugfest to a pretty quick game. CGS playing their team comp extremely well. MSF drafted this sign laid comp, really hard to execute. Macro wasn't there. Kept going into this Anivia. The Anivia said, "Bring it on," and that was pretty much game. So look for MSF to kind of learn from their ways, and they immediately
Oh,
ban out the
they
Anivia.
immediately take out the Anivia. Not gonna let Shiba be able to take that again. As CGS, they're gonna take a Mumu. Pretty good performance from Villapando in the first game here between the two. Ezreal again gonna get knocked out. How strong is Ezreal? Like I haven't really seen much Ezreal everywhere else, but it seems like both teams are prioritizing Ezreal very much.
I think he's going to be very high prio here when they start playing 13.1B in the pros. Got a little bit of mana regen early, so you don't really have to rush tier anymore. You can go that crit build. If you go Essence Reaver into Navori Quick Blades, your Q is basically like half a second cooldown. Feels really good.
As yeah, Misfits are gonna take away Funny Dude's surfing, which is although Funny Dude's onkers were amazing. I'm fairly happy to see that Funny Dude's probably gonna play something else because he just kept getting caught and caught, especially in the early game. The second game, he did kind of redeem himself, and he did
Yeah,
get that really good engage in one of them dragon team fights last game. But I'm still very much so happy to see Funny Dude maybe play somebody else as
has
final
to,
ban is
right?
gonna be
He can't play
Tauret as
Seraphine.
well. What was
Yeah,
that?
so it'll be. I said he has to now because they can't play
Oh
Seraphine.
yeah, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see Ornn. Wow, I am not a
One
big
first
fan.
pick. Wow.
B1 Ornn. Especially, Misfits, top was performing so well in the Fiora. Obviously, it didn't execute the comp properly mid to late game. And now you're putting him on a weak side when, the Volley Bear can just be picked up immediately, unless they're flex picking the Ornn, which I don't really think it can really go anywhere else other than the top in this current meta. I think he's going to be comfortable just by picking Volley Bear and trying to bully him in the 1v1. We'll have to see, though, as we await the first pick for
Yeah.
CGS.
DGS taking a very long time, and it looks like they're gonna pick the
Okay.
Urgot straight into Ornn. Ornn top lane matchup already gonna get picked out here for both teams. Urgot, haven't really seen him in a very long time. I don't know if he's been hit or like he was buffed in 13.1B, but still very exciting to see the Chem Baron gonna be going over there in the top lane against Ornn. Still a
Yeah,
lot of
and
high priority picks up unavailable though, Righteous.
just a little bit about the Urgot pick. This is a pick that Evie would take in last year's Worlds meta when everyone was playing like Ornn Maokai top. Can abuse the tanks early, obviously a little bit harder to execute in team fights. Urgot wants a lot of space in order to get those, not what is it called, shotgun kneecaps going. As Caitlyn is picked up for CGS, and so I expect Urgot's going to be favored early on. Ornn kind of has to scale, get his items, get those ornaments going so that he can get those boosted armor. Pretty aggressive from the side of CGS, picking a high prio ADC in Caitlyn. Lots of range, lots of, pushing power to secure some early Drakes on this red side. So interesting to see what they pair it with. Maybe the Lux, because the
Really
Seraphine
want
is
to see
banned away.
Ashheimer now. I really want to see Ashheimer from Misfits. See if they're gonna be able to pick it up because I feel like out of all the AD carries in the roster, Ash I think has the second base, like second highest range at level 1, and
Mhm.
pair that up with a Heimer, you're gonna have a lot of push, and you're basically going head to head against Caitlyn in the priority pushing, and it looks like they're not gonna be going for it right now. They do pick up the Swain, which is a little bit out of nowhere. It looks like both teams are just kind of picking what they want to play for this last game.
And I threw away my op.gg sheets for these teams when we saw these drafts coming out. They weren't going what I thought they would pick. I'm not sure if Swain is considered a flex for this team between mid and support. Does have that flexibility. Swain pretty impressive. You basically get a free E-pull every time the ADC tries to farm. It looks like it will be the case. I think it's going to be Swain Fair's bot lane. Lots of poke. You see the
Yeah.
Varus answer into the Caitlyn a lot in pro play with the lethality build. You can sit back, poke with the Q, poke with the E. Swain gets a pull into a Varus ulti, and one of these two is going to be dead, whether it's Caitlyn or Lux.
As yeah, we do see the Lux pick up as we were expecting. Caitlyn Lux in the bot lane, and that if that is Swain Varus in the bot lane, that's gonna be a very very volatile lane. Gonna be excited for that. But CGS, they're not thinking that Swain is gonna go into the support role because they're banned out the Karma, which is a very good pair up with the Varus. But Karma in pro play right now, at least in the LCK, as far as I remember, Karma not exactly having the best time right now. A little bit interesting as to why CGS decided to ban that out, as we're gonna see MiSFiTS, the next ban.
Syndra. So they take away Syndra from Shiba. I will say I think the Karma was a smart ban because the Swain could be flexed. It could end up mid. Karma Varus obviously really push heavy lane in its own right. You have the Mantra Qs, you have the Varus Qs flying out. So they go and opt to take that away. I will say in the LCK, the Karma is typically used as an answer to try to answer the Heimer, and Heimer has been so oppressive in pro play. Might be why it's not looking the greatest. No Heimer this game. I believe it was nerfed on 13.1b as well. So maybe we see less prio of that. I do still believe it's going to be Swain Varus bot. The Zac banned away from Villanova. No more elastic slingshot steals. And Hybern is the last ban. Wow.
Wow, all right. A lot of direct bans towards each of the players, or especially in the past few games. CGS, they're gonna need to go into the depths of their champion pool to really pick out something, as they need to blind pick their jungler. I mean, yeah, they could just save up their R5 for the mid lane and make MSF blind pick their mid lane, assuming Swain does go into the support. I suppose with the flex, that is something that you don't have to do, but right now I'm looking at something like maybe a Nazir to help out the bot lane, maybe something more like Sejuani. Yeah, Sejuani would be great because that gives you a lot more frontline and a lot more CC, a lot more setup in the team fights. Urgot, while he is a great frontline, not exactly the best. So I do like the Sejuani pickup here for CGS.
Yeah, Urgot can be kind of considered a range bruiser, while Sejuani straight tank, you know. Really interesting to see if Sedge takes the Radiant Virtue build or maybe opts into the Iceborne Gauntlet for maybe a little bit more damage with those Sheen procs. I do think Sedge is a great pick. I was thinking that maybe they should take Poppy and have Poppy kind of be this anti-Ornn engage. You know, Poppy 6 on Ornn, he can never E, he can never ult. But instead opts for the Sedge. Lots of pick potential now. A Sejuani ultimate into like a Caitlyn stun or Flux Q, and they can 100 to 0 someone really quick if all things go their way. At least
Ooh!
is the
Oh,
answer
I
for MSF.
absolutely adore that. I absolutely adore that. What they could do now, they could pick a AD mid laner, something like Dione, maybe even an Akshana if you're feeling like it, because the AP now you could put up the Swain in the support role, and because he's a support, he's not going to be dealing that much AP. Instead, he's going to be more of a utility champion. I really, really adore this, at least because Sejuani is more about the team fighting, right? And
Mhm.
she does have the pick potential, but Elise is such an early game champion. I absolutely adore this. And like I was saying, you could pair up the Elise with an AD champion like the Ione, and really excited for the bot lane, for the mid jungle duo that MiSFiTS has for them.
MSF kind of saw what one of their flaws was last draft with the 4 melee comp. Instead, has a little bit more poke with the Varus and Swim, but really kind of like a deathball comp. Looking for those picks. You know, Yone has a great scaling composition to him. Going to be dealing lots of damage in the mid to late game, especially with the ornaments coming out. Varus, lots of poke onto some squishy champions like Kate Lux. An empowered Varus Q into a Yone ult. And those guys, the backline is dead pretty much. So it's going to be up to Sejuani and Urgot to really heal for the carries down in the bot lane. And Oriana is going to be the 5th pick CGS. So once again, lots of team fight coming out from CGS. MSF has a better team fight. You know, you have the Ornn, the Yone, the Varus, and the Sway. And at least has a little bit harder of a time, more of a pick composition when you see Elise's. But they played very well in game 1 around their vision. You know, an Elise Cocoon basically spells doom or any of these carries over for CGS. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams approach the game. And I think from games 1, 2, and 3, this is our most even matchup in terms of team comps straight up facing each other.
Certainly, yeah, I do agree. I really am really excited to see what the mid jungle duo of Misfits are going to be able to do. Oriana on the other side of the map. Oriana did get some buffs, although they're not the biggest. They're still buffs, and you'll take that, which is kind of what brought Oriana. It's kind of what Oriana. It's kind of what made Oriana right now in 13.1 be a little bit more viable. And into the Yone, I think that's a fairly good matchup for Oriana as long as you know how to punish the range matchup. But you're gonna need to be really safe with that Elise. Even Swain can get in on the action with the W, with the Vision of Empire. I think this game is really gonna boil down to whether or not Elise can get Misfits ahead. Because even though I know you said that Misfits has a pretty good team fight composition, in my opinion, I have to give that team fight I have to give the team fight win over to Oriana. I mean, over to CGX because they have the Oriana and they
Yeah,
have
for
a pretty
sure.
good. They have a pretty good ball lane as well with the Caitlyn and Lux. That's guaranteed priority as long as you play it correct. As long as you play it correctly as well, and with the help of the Urgot, with the help of Sejuani as well, CGS can really wreck up a team fight if they play it well. So I believe it's going to be all up to Misfits to get a lead and to get that tempo rolling before CGS can get into a good position to fight with them head to head.
Exactly. As the mid to late game rolls on, I'm curious to see what Swain will pick up. I believe it's probably going to be an Everfrost, get a pull into Everfrost, lock somebody down for at least Yone and Varus to follow up. But I do agree. I think team fight wise, CGS does have a little bit more of an advantage just because they have the Sejuani instead of the Elise. However, Yone, could get a lot of prio mid depending on how the matchup is played, and looks to run with this Elise, and that's a pretty potent combo. An Elise Cocoon, have Yone start wailing on you. Look for lots and lots of roams to come up from the Yone Elise duo, Yone, however you say it. But yeah, I think this is gonna be a really fun game. Hopefully, we end on a high note, really even matchup. Game two was heavily um, dominated by CGS, and so they have the bot lane prio. They have the Urgot counter pick. Oriana's gonna be playing safe. I do think CGS has a better draft, but it's really close this time around.
Yeah, as we head into the draft, we're just about to finish though. What are you thinking right now? Because for me, I just have to say I really love the pickup of the Oriana and saving that pick for the for the counter pick. The Elise and the Yone, it is very creative. It's very good. Elise is very good right now, pairing that up with an AD mid laner. We're gonna have a lot of pressure around that jungle, around that mid lane, especially against an immobile Oriana. But like we've said so much, team fighting from CGS has this entire series. Their team fighting has been amazing, and they drafted themselves another really good team fighting composition. And I believe they have the hands and the mentality in them to be able to wield this composition very well.
Yeah, and I think Oriana, it is scary to face down on Elise and Yone kind of by yourself in the middle of the lane. You're gonna have to have some help from the Sejuani, maybe pull Pink Ward in one of the dot brushes and top her bot and play around vision. But if Oriana goes first strike here and can kind of bully the Yone early, a first strike Oriana with like a Ludens does a lot of damage to the side of MSF, except for the Warren, obviously. But Varus, Elise, Yone, even Swain from the support role, all really squishy. And if you get like a really big shockwave in one of these team fights with the first strike, I mean that's going to be doing massive damage. We didn't really touch on it, but Oriana can go tier and do Archangels as well. Not really have many mana issues in lane, so maybe a first strike tier start for Oriana just to try to bully the Yone, the manaless Yone, pick up some gold, look for a good back, and then go from there. I do think CGS coming off the high of the game two is going to reverse sweep. I think they have an easier comp. The Elise is really hard to pilot sometimes, especially if you start getting behind. So look for MSF to be really aggressive and make lots of proactive plays early with this Elise. Otherwise, if it's on the back foot, it's going to be really hard to play. But I do believe CGS will pick up the win for a 2-1 reverse sweep victory. With that being said, we are going to take the spectator delay break, but we will be back here shortly.
Howdy, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Quiz Session Game 3 between Cloud Gaming Spartan and MiSFiTS. Here we go. We already see all 5 members of MiSFiTS heading down into the mid lane, and 4 people, unfortunately, Tigsy is not there. Very close. We are right next. Obito is going to be moving forward, and already
Oh
there comes the line.
no!
So much damage onto Obito, and Shiba is gonna get that kill. It's only a first blood, it looks like, because the rest of the team didn't really offer anymore. But that's already a kill onto the Oriana.
He's the back here. Spend that gold. Started with
Welcome
the
back.
deer.
Yeah.
Kid, just back, get a Dorans, and now you're full tier up.
That's gonna be absolute hell for Quinn. Oh, he opts for the
Actually,
brown bags though.
yeah, the boots. It's actually kind of interesting because it gives Rihanna a lot of kiteability. They can bully the Yone with this early move speed. Also, if Lee shows up, maybe more of a chance to dodge the cocoon without having to burn flash.
This is true.
That early
Yeah,
pink.
that was a really good play from CGS though. I mean, it was kind of MiSFiTS looking for a little bit of a play on their own, but unfortunately, it looks like Shiva and the rest of his team kind of read it fairly well, and they got the first track to that. What's that bush called? River Long Bush? What is
I call it the dot bush because it's
the
just
dot
like
bush?
pixel bush. Dot
Oh
bush.
no, not the pixel bush. The bush that's
the
on
top
top
river
of it.
bush. I have no idea.
I feel like
We could make up a name.
we should make there should be names for every single bush in the Rift right now.
We should call it George. The George Bush.
George is a pretty good name. I like that name. The Pixel
But-
Bush is kind of self-explanatory, but George Bush has some character to it, you know?
Yeah, we saw Sejuani opt into a leashless start. Kind of a little sad for the Sedge. MSF Quinn got a spot out that Tigsy did start topside. Will be pathing bot, at least on opposite timers, gonna be pathing top. Forgot being really aggressive with the range advantage, with the all-in potential. Has to be careful as Elise looks to make a play, maybe straight into blue into gank. We'll see.
Yeah, King Kong is very far up, and the wave is a fairly good position to punish.
Tigsy looking
Villanova
good
is in a
though.
perfect condition. Yeah, Tigsy in the mid lane, gonna be rolling for the flash. Arctic Assault Quinn immediately gonna be following it up with his own flash, and he gets away safely.
And how bad do you feel if you're Quinn? Your mid lane got gifted a kill by the support. I have to burn flash because jungle level 3'd. So now I'm just down flash. Have to be wary of that. And so, I mean, no fault to Quinn. It's just, it is what it is.
Very mental breaking, yeah. Gonna have to keep his spirits up after that. As we were talking about, though, Villanova in that perfect position to gather up a gank in the top lane. King Kong does have a ward in the ward. Does have a ward in the ward. He does have a ward in the river bush though, and he is gonna spot it out long before it happens. So nobody's gonna die up there in the top lane. But Villanova gonna be pathing towards this mid lane now after getting that scuttle crab. There's a ward there for Shiba. 6-0 as well.
They're
They're gonna be
tracking
going for
Villanova
it.
really
Here comes
well.
the E with the knock up Shiba. Gonna be just safely, perfectly fine because Tigzy is here as well, and Villanova unfortunately can't get an early kill.
Yeah, and I mean, we see the Elise picked. It's just to be ganks on ganks on ganks. It's not the greatest at clearing. You clear to get your treats basically, and then you can look to gank some more. And so, the vision control from side of CGS helping with that early pressure from the Elise. Like you all just ease away. I would have loved to see the first strike on the Oriana really rack up some gold on this melee matchup instead of opting to the electrocute. But how far ahead would she be if she had the first strike?
Oh yeah, she would be kilometers up over Quinn right now. But unfortunately, good for Quinn that it didn't. But I mean, electrocute is still very good. You know, you can get a ton of really good trades there in the mid lane. Shiba could possibly even try for a solo kill onto Ione, as we were talking about more trades over there. This time, Quinn's the one gonna get the betterment of that trade. And overall, first 5 minutes of game, pretty, you know, all right. This Drake is gonna be spawning here. The first one is gonna be an Inferno
Yeah.
Soul, and the priority
Feels
for the bot lane of MiSFiTS is not there.
I was gonna say it feels okay, except for when you look at bot and you're already 25 CS down. We see about 1,000 gold lead just from CS alone right now. 29 CS compared to the 36 in mid. Urgot and Ornn pretty even, but already 1,000 gold lead just with the one kill. The first drives go in the way of CGS, and they're feeling. I mean, they're riding the high of game 2, and carrying it over to game 3.
Yeah, the directed camera really likes watching the tradings in the top lane. But yeah, oh, there goes the shield with the dash onto Leaky Wallow, but he's not able to find the damage. It's a beautiful turnaround from the Ornn top lane.
That's not what you want to do when you get the counter pick into the Ornn, right? Giving away a free kill. Unfortunate.
Look
For
at the
King Kong.
items. King Kong. Oh no, wait, no. I thought okay, King Kong must have just bought Tiamat because I thought King Kong had Tiamat in that 1v1.
Oh no, no, no.
Yeah,
That would
I
have
would
been
have
nuts.
surprised.
Look for Ornn to back here. Probably get himself some armor boots. To help deal with the Urgot. Oh my gosh!
The snipe from King Kong. I wasn't even looking. Fear beyond death lands straight onto the Ornn. That is an amazing kill from the top laner of CGS.
1 for 1 on the ults. I mean, typing ain't too hard for this Urgot. I mean, what a kill. It feels pretty bad to give that kill to Ornn, but to follow it up with a play like that, turn around.
Absolutely huge play from King Kong, yeah. Villanova was there and was there to pick up a little bit of that way, but still Leaky Wallow TPing in, and surprisingly, the top lane is the one that has the most action. If we take a look about the other lanes, though, if you look at the bot lane, Caitlyn Lux, as expected, is dealing has a CS lead right now. In the top lane, though, that's a lot of damage to Leaky Wallow, trying to turn it around, but he's not able to find it. If King Kong had his ulti now, that would be another kill onto the Ornn.
King Kong just opened my eyes to some new tech as we see some heavy trading into She with the dog. MiSFiTS going aggressive with that E. Lots and lots of damage about both at half. But King Kong buffered the E knockup from the Ornn with his own E. Canceled the knockup and ends up flipping
Here comes a
Ornn.
fade shield from Quinn, trying to get the solo kill onto Shiba, and it looks like he's going to be able to get it with the Ignite. Meanwhile, bot lane, Villanova is here, has to use the flash, is Fritz, the Cocoon, still not getting used. Here comes the exhaust rather, Repel, gonna get that kill over onto Fritz. Fearless is taking that, and here comes the flash away from Funny Dude, but it's just not enough. MiSFiTS, they get the early lead that they need.
Yeah, I mean, bring it back to about even 1,000 gold swing to the way of MiSFiTS. Everything that was going right for the side of CES all of a sudden went very, very wrong. The solo Bolo on a Sheep of the Dog, Quinn doing a great job in that 1v1 matchup. And then Fritz and Lulu, with that pushing power comes pushing responsibility, not warded up, not ready for the Villanova gank, and ends up dying.
Yeah, just a really good play there. Really good solo kill from Quinn, getting the better hand of Shiva. Overall, the entirety of this series, Shiva has been the one performing a little bit better than Quinn, I'd say. But with that solo kill, sending Shiva a message essentially. In the bot lane as well, really good punish from Villanova and Obito to be able to get that kill over onto Fritz and Funny Dude, who were, they've been pushing the lane the entire game, which is what they're supposed to do. But Villanova and the rest of his team able to punish that out as we see some trading in the mid lane.
Yep. Things will probably go back to normal here, though. He's trying to farm just a little bit before she goes back to gank. King Kong shoving this Ornn on repeat. Would like the Urgot to eventually freeze the wave on this Ornn, force him to not be able to walk up. If he does, then you go look for the kill with the ulti. Instead, just trying to perma push while this Herald is up. Elise, that was pretty easy Herald stake. They have to be careful. Urgot going down as she was getting traded on by Quinn. Elise ends up running away from the pressure from King Kong. But the thing about Elise is, I mean, she was meta a long, long time ago, back when Herald basically first came out. And with those little spiderlings, makes really easy Herald takes. You just have the spiderlings kind of tank the damage. But was forced off from the pressure from top side.
Yeah, Quinn, he is getting a lot of really good trades in the mid lane, but as you said, King Kong always pushing here in the top lane. So far, the CSing though, pretty okay. It's only a 10 CS deficit for Leaky Wallow. If I look at the other side of the map though, Fritz Lulu is absolutely dumpstering ridiculous. And that's a flash Glacial Prison over onto Villanova, trying to turn it around onto Shiba, but the damage is not there. Here comes Quinn at the double fade. Still gonna get that turnaround over onto Shiba. The rest of the team is here though. Quinn not gonna die from the damage from Tigsy and Obito. Doesn't have the flash or it can't go over the wall, but it turns out to be a 1-for-1 in favor of both teams because it's a 1-for-1. That's how it works.
A really nice job of initially of taking Shiba's pressure and roaming with the support. I think they were ultimately trying to get that Rift Herald, but instead Quinn with a little saving play ends up picking off Shiba as well. So 1-for-1, but does put in the back of this Elise's mind, like, I gotta be careful because they're gonna try to kill me.
Villanova though, posturing for something in the top lane. Cocoon is gonna land, but the buffer E is there. King Kong does a lot of damage, but so does Villanova. Has to flash over. Here comes the follow flash from Leaky Wallow, and Villanova is gonna be able to get that kill in the mid lane. We have some trading. That's a really bad death there from King Kong because it looked like there was a massive wave that was about to crash for Leaky.
Yeah, and talk about a sneaky Urgot counter. Villanova with the Spiderlings, when King Kong pops his W, it's gonna auto the Spiderlings instead of the champs. Unfortunate, but with that pressure, we saw Villanova top. Let's go ahead and pick up a free Drake, says CGS, and so they've already started sacking these dragons with the pressure coming out from Kate and Lux. Looks like the Rift Herald is going to be what is ultimately traded for MiSFiTS, and I'm curious to see. I would like to see the Herald dropped mid as soon as possible. Get this Yone going, already 2-0. Get him going around the map.
Oh, that's a little bit of a knock-up over on the Shiba. That's a lot of damage from Quinn. He's able to calculate that with the passive damage from the E. Oh my god! Wow. Well, there goes another solo kill over onto Quinn.
Quinn's just styling on him now. He says, Shiba, you got first blood. That's just, a little bit of free gold for you because I'm not letting you get anything else.
Yeah, what a turnaround from Quinn. We're going to see the Rift Herald now getting placed here in the mid lane, giving that some of that plate gold over onto Quinn. And this entire series, it looked like Quinn, trading in the mid lane. Ace in the hole, then I try to turn it around, not able to find it because the damage is not there, but Fizzlulu handling that 1v2. On my point about Quinn though, this entire series, it feels like Quinn has been playing behind Shiba, like the entire series pretty much. Like both game 1 and game 2, Quinn not exactly the best performer, and in this game 3, he is coming way alive right now. And it's good to see from that, yeah.
It's not that Quinn was playing poorly. I just don't think they had very much impact compared to what Shiba was doing. Game 1, we saw the Scatter the Weeks coming up clutch. Game 2, the Anivia was doing so much work. This game 3, doing melee AD and like
here comes the engage. Over onto King Kong again. The Cocoon is not gonna land, but here comes the call of the Forge God. Tigsy is here though. Finds the Glacial Prison over onto Ornn, and Villanova is just leaving his top laner full of wolves. That's a massive turnaround from CGS.
Yeah, and we have to be careful when we're at MiSFiTS. Lots of gold onto the Yone, but that's really your only scary threat in these team fights. Not that Elise is
there
doing
goes
poor.
the Never Move though, over onto Shiba. The Light Binding's not able to find anyone, and the Shockwave will not find any joy either. Nice try, I suppose.
Let's try. Cooldown's not that long. Should be up for the next Drake, but as I was saying, this Elise isn't going to have the easiest time in team fights, and there's really no gold on the side lanes, and so it's going to be up to Quinn to carry these team fights if they opt into them, because Ornn's really just a CC bot at this point. Varus going to have some CC. Varus has a real build. You see this Varus build?
Yeah, I don't know what is happening in Varus's mind right now. Tiamat with I think he's probably going to go Ravenous first, but we see a little bit of a gank here in the top lane. I feel like this is the third time Villanova has been up here. King Kong finds the knock-up over on Villanova, and he's trying to turn it around, but the repel is going to keep the jungler alive. King Kong is handling this 1v2 very, very well. He already has the Titanic Hydra, you have to keep that in mind, but the Fear Beyond Death is on cooldown, and he fights that 1v2 so succeedingly.
Yeah, he just says, I do more damage than both of you right now. So he just walks out for free. Tigsy going to be engaging onto Quinn. Ult is wide from Fearless. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so cute. I'm waiting to see Fearless builds here because Eclipse was nerfed for the Varus poke. No longer, gives that life steal. And so option of the Ravenous Hydra, I guess it does proc with the abilities.
I suppose
It's
so,
not a
yeah.
build that I'm familiar with. Yep. So no,
I mean, it's the first time, I suppose. We'll have to see if it works out for Fearless. His mid laner is already doing really, really good though, so maybe we don't even need to see it work out because maybe Quinn's just gonna carry the game. State of the game though, kill lead is over for MiSFiTS, but the gold is very much in favor of CGS as King Kong. He's just looking for the solo bolo onto Leaky and he's gonna find it. Here comes Obito with Fearless, but King Kong is so incredibly strong. Has to flash away to keep himself alive from the demon player of Obito. But there goes the arrow from Fearless. And he is gonna be getting that shutdown onto King Kong.
yeah, and he does get the shutdown, but he burns both sums right before Drake. So now you have an immobile 80 carry, you have Obito that doesn't have the ult, and this bot lane is going to be pretty useless when it comes to taking this dragon. I mean, yeah, Fearless will lay down some poke, but Obito feels pretty bad. He doesn't have that ult available. Obviously, he needed a proc, otherwise he probably would have died of the Urgot. But this Urgot's doing lots of work. We're going to see the Mythicless Rush. He's going to go Titanic into the buffed up Black Cleaver. Really, really broken item in my opinion this patch. And it looks like there's not really a way for MSF to contest this third Drake, but we'll see if they opt into it.
The Oriana ball, you have to keep that in mind because the shockwave value is going to be absolutely instrumental.
Wow.
Let's see if Shiba can find it. The Drake is going to be going over to the side of Fritzy, but immediately Tigsy is going to get taken down. Final spark landing onto everyone. And here comes King Kong with a re-engage flash. Light binding onto Funny Boy. And already two people from MiSFiTS are down. Looking for even more is CSG. The Fear Beyond Death unfortunately does not land, but there is the light binding. And that's another kill over onto King Kong. Villanova now has to keep himself alive. Quinn, can you do something here? They're going really, really far forward here to try to get the skill, but they will not find it.
It's a good chase because you have a wave crashing into mid, so it should lead to at least a lot of damage on this mid tower, if not the tower itself. I'm keeping those two carries away, and yeah, it looks like they're going to pick up mid because of that chase. I mean, obviously, you like to see the kills as well.
Cocoon in the mid lane, though. Villanova trying to look for something on the Prince Lulu, but the damage is not there, and I need to look up what that ability is called, but King Kong, the Villanova, and Fritz Lulu is alive.
Villanova just decided that he didn't want to be alive right there. Maybe he thought he had more damage than he actually did, because he did get the nice cocoon on the Fritz Lulu, but Fritz Lulu didn't even burn his cleanse. He was not scared of the Elise at that point. So the wheels kind of falling off the wagon for MiSFiTS. Quinn doing really well. Varus, 2-1-2 despite the huge CS deficiency. But we'll call it a 4K gold leader right now, 4.5K for CGS with a comp that's once they're ahead, they're really hard to deal with. Lots of zoning tools. With the Sejuani ult, with the Oriana, Kate and Lux formidable in their own right. It's going to be really hard for MSF to ever walk into an objective if CGS is already there.
Yeah, here comes some damage over onto King Kong. It's great. It looks like King Kong is unaware of the two-man gank that's going to be happening. Nice cancel out of the disdain with the purge. With the fate shield rather. But the damage is there from Villanova and Obito. And they're just going to shut down the absolutely huge Urgot in the top lane.
King Kong giving some gold back to MSF. Pretty needlessly, but he's opening my eyes to how powerful Urgot E is. I had no idea that you could just buffer Yone like that.
Tigsy trying to get that kill over onto Villanova, has to use the stopwatch. It's the Elise. He's just fighting this 1v2, but the damage from Quinn and Villanova is absolutely huge. Tigsy has to use his flash to get himself safe. And that was really close. That was a nice try from Tigsy, but so far, no cigar.
Yep,
Chiba
and
though,
the
gonna get knocked up. Here comes the Chains of Corruption, trying to turn it around with the Shockwave, but the damage is just not there. And Shiba is no one gonna get caught out now. Quinn, everybody's getting caught out all over the map. And Quinn trying to turn it around over the Zigzy, but that's just a shutdown over onto Fritz. Like, what's happening in this game, man? Everything was so great, but then everybody started trolling. What is happening?
yeah, I don't know. Shiba trying to put pressure on the top side of the map, recognized that Villanova and Quinn were down there, but didn't recognize the power coming out from Leaky Wallow and Fearless. I mean, they might be behind, but they have lots of CC and lots of damage for a really, really squishy Oriana. Shiba not having the best game this game 3. However, the top lane holding it down on the side lanes, going to be really strong. Orin really can't match with that new Black Cleaver. And King Kong just says, this
He's just
jungle
walking
is
forward.
mine.
He's just walking forward, finds the knock-up over onto King Kong Ace Leaky Wallow, trying to turn it around over onto Villanova, but Fearless is here to dish out the damage, and King Kong being really, really confident there. Didn't really need to go for that, but I guess he's trying to assert his dominance. Didn't really work out this time, but, you know,
I
so...
mean, both teams, they're just going through these moments where it's like we're just turning our brains off, you know. Villanova going in on Fritz Lulu, just getting killed, you know. King Kong dying right there, Shiva dying
And we're gonna
top.
find a little bit of an engager over on the Tixie in preparation for that Baron that is up, the Cloud Drake. Gonna be spawning here in 30 seconds. That'll be Soul for CSG if they're able to take it. CSG now, I mean Tixie rather, might be in a caught out position. Tobito though, just immediately gonna go down. Quinn gonna get exhausted trying to turn it around, but the shockwave in the back line is absolutely huge. And CSG, they found their fight. It's a double kill for Funny Dude, and the ace in the hole is gonna nail that coffin into the ground. 4 people from MiSFiTS are down, and CSG there are straight going for the Baron.
They're gonna pick this up for free. Orange is gonna, you know, go pick up that top farm. Say,
They're gonna get
I'm
the soul
scaling.
as well.
Oh yeah, quick soul. You know, 23, depending on when they get it, 24-minute soul. CGS is in the driver's seat, and it's not really all they're doing. I think, you know, MSF's just opting into fights that aren't theirs and giving over free gold, free kills away, and then ultimately free objectives.
Yeah, I think the story of this game has just been idealized by King Kong and his fearlessness to just fight no matter who he's facing. And Villanova, we expected a lot more from him. He did get a few good plays. Yeah, sure, Fritz Lulu don't get caught out though. The Cocoon not gonna get land, never move as well. He's just 1v5ing the entirety of MiSFiTS right now. King Kong unafraid, gonna get hit there with the Chains of Corruption, but the follow-up is not there. The Soul, remember, gonna get picked up by CGS, and Villanova gonna be going over to King Kong. Final Spark Repel, gonna be keeping himself alive for just a little bit longer. Ace in the hole has to use a flashes Quinn, and this team fight is going all over the place, but it looks like CGS are kind of winning it right now.
The question is why?
Precision over onto Fearless, trying to get an engage onto the flashless Varus, and they're able to find it. Here comes the team fight. Failed Sealed, it's pretty big. He finds 2 already, but Tiggsy gonna get a double kill in the backline. Leaky Wallow's dead, so is Obito. Quinn is the next one on the chopping board, and Villanova is the only person left alive for MiSFiTS. We expected so much for him for this team composition to succeed, and he just was not able to find joy today. Villanova's gonna leave the game because CSG, they lost the first game, but they bounced back in the second game and pull off their reverse sweep against MiSFiTS in this grueling series. Absolutely amazing performance from Clown Gaming Spartan.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to Clown Gaming, you know, picking up a very much needed win, keep themselves atop of the top half of the standings. Just lots of needless fights. Pretty much throughout the full series, and CGS were the benefactors game 2 and 3. So yeah, quick reverse sweep, you know, the 43-minute game 1 and a couple of 20-minute games. Really good for CGS.
Very, very great performance here from Clown Gaming Spartan. MiSFiTS, maybe we can understand why the first game took so long, because MiSFiTS had a very difficult time to get into. Eventually, they were able to win that game, but in game 2 and game 3, CGS just shows their true colors, and they were able to win both game 2 and game 3 in pretty much flawless fashion. There were a few mistakes, yeah, sure, but low elo, we can all forgive that. Very good game though from very good series rather from CGS, and Fritz Lulu and Shiba as well. Today was their day. We have to be honest. Absolutely amazing performance from the ADC and the mid laner of CGS.
Yeah, and there's lots of bright spots. Villanova games 1 and 2 had really good games. Quinn coming alive game 3. I think they just need to put it all together, play a clean game. They're really really bloodthirsty. Really like opting into fights that are a little bit unnecessary. And so you can learn a lot from a series like this, going winning game 1 and ultimately losing. Not the end of the world. You did pick up that first win, and it seemed like they were learning as the games went on. Game 3 is just a little bit of a hiccup, but expect some strong showings from MSF in the future.
Definitely, they did show. They lost, but overall, they still did a really good showing, Misfits. We can't just praise Clown Gaming. They did win that first game, and even though it was 50 minutes, it was very entertaining. Good performance from both teams overall. As we are learning. I mean, we are trying to get some more information as to whether we're gonna get an interview or not. But right now, before we get to that information, I want to ask you, Raj. I asked you this already before, but who do you think, if there was to be an MVP, who do you think would be MVP for CGS?
Man, I think all 3 games there were different standout performers. It makes it really, really hard. Game 1 was the Zeri, and now I'm just forgetting players' names all of a sudden. Game 2 was Shiba on Anivia, and then game
Oh
3,
yeah,
Urgot did a
King
lot of
Kong,
work.
really? Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, putting it all together, I'd say the most consistent performer probably deserves an MVP if that's the case. If he had 3 standouts, 3 different games, so I'd probably give it to the ADC. I'm so sorry, I'm spacing out on names, but um,
Uh, yeah, I definitely do agree. All 3 games, Fritz Lulu, he was doing really good. I think, but especially in that first game, they did lose it, but he still put up a really good performance on that Zeri, even if that the game did not go their way. I think, yeah, I think that's a really good choice. Shiba the dog putting up some really good performances as well, and King Kong, really good performance in that first and third game as well. He solo killed he solo killed the enemy top laner. I believe he's Leaky Wallow. Yeah, he solo killed Leaky Wallow so many times this series, and it was really really fun to see. But yeah, I believe it looks like we are going to be heading into an interview. But before we head into that, maybe we should head it over into a short break fest.
yep, we'll take a quick break. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to PXC. We just saw a great 3-game series between Clown Gaming Spartans and MiSFiTS, with CGS coming out on top. I'm joined by CGS jungler Tigsy. Tigsy, how are you feeling about the series as a whole?
Um, feel pretty good. I think we played pretty well in the second and third games. I think we were a
Mhm.
little sloppy in the first game, but our comp was kind of hard to execute, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, talk about game one a little bit with that, harder to execute comp. What were the thoughts behind the Ivern pick?
So I'm a big believer in Ivern.
Huh?
I think he's broken. I actually just really like the champ and how he works in the meta right now.
Yeah.
And really think enchanters are good, so I just like him. And Seraphine we also picked on BU2 with Ivern, and Seraphine's also really broken, so I
Ah,
just picked two broken champions.
there you go. You said though a little bit harder to execute. Misfits come away with game one. Heading into game two, what were the comms like? What were you guys discussing? How were you able to turn it around into a reverse sweep?
Well, we felt like we were the better team.
Mhm.
We knew that we just had to change a couple things. Um, like our comp was kind of hard to play a little bit because we didn't really have much front line. So going into game two, we had a bit more front line, and I think it made our comp way easier to play.
Yeah, and talk about game two as the draft was unfolding. You saw 4 melees coming out from Misfits. You had the Anivia locked. I mean, did you feel like you guys just won a draft?
100%. I think that their draft was kind of lost after the first phase.
I gotcha. I mean, it definitely looked like it was not fun to play into you guys. We were talking about it on the desk here that they really had maybe side lane pressure, but team fights weren't going to go their way. That was kind of ultimately what happened. And heading into game three, we see the immediate B1 Ornn pick. Uh, your top laner was Urgot. Just he's like, all right, just lock me in Urgot. I already know how this matchup is. He seemed like he knew his matchups in the top lane.
Yeah, he was like, pick me Urgot. I'll just run him over. So I picked him Urgot and he ran him over.
There you go. Well, I mean, really big win for CDS. I believe that puts you at, is it 3-1 on the season or 2-2?
We're 3 and
Can't.
1 now.
3-1. So right up there with the big boys. Looking at the rest of the season, obviously playoffs is the ultimate goal. Doing well in those playoffs. What do you think you need to do and clean up in order to make that a reality?
I think if we can keep our games a bit cleaner than we have, I think we will be able to compete with the best teams.
There you go. You heard it from Tigsy himself. Congrats on the CGS victory over Misfits. Really, really big win. Anything you want to shout out before we head out of here?
Um, Shout out to my teammates. They're really good. And we're gonna pull up in the clown car and keep slapping people.
There you go. Gauntlet laid down by Tigsy. Well, that is all the time we have here at PXE. Thank you so much for joining us for this wonderful 3-game series that we witnessed. And we hope you all have a great rest of your night.